There should be trumpets before this announcement.
Well,
let's get some trumpets, Declan. You can't handle fucking thunderclaps, asshole.
Whoa. Is everything all right?
A major release is being announced right now.
This is huge.
I mean, I think that it's one of the milestone moments in this podcast's history. It's young history,
right? 6 years young.
This is one of those moments where, and what would you call it? I guess product. I guess is the only word you could use to describe it. That will that others will be measured against.
That I agree with. Also, this is the first product that we took. Well, no, we've been doing it, but like the lessons we learned from Kickstarter, where we were like, let's not announce a project until it's completed and ready to go.
As difficult as it was for some people. Lodondo, I'm looking in your direction.
Lodondo was absolutely out of his mind, right?
Like rabid. To the point where I'm like...
I was like, he's definitely fucking around with me.
Like somebody got a butterfly net. There's something wrong with this
fucking guy. I didn't truly believe he was this rabid to have this item released. I mean, it was literally like weekly at a certain point, which I guess isn't that bad, but... Yeah. I thought he was just fucking with me at times, but then I realized he was doing it to everybody. I was just like, "Oh my god,
he's not that great a troll."
But he has reasons to be excited about this, as do we and everybody else involved. So, what is it, Q?
You're not going to distance yourself from it a little bit because I felt like you were.
I am distancing myself a little bit from it.
From what? From the product?
From what this product you're about to announce.
Why would you distance yourself?
Well, in terms of. I can't say that it was in my. It was not in my. It was
not your wheelhouse.
My strengths. This particular item, this particular vehicle doesn't play to like. Tell them what it is, and I can explain why.
Okay, it is Vinylcast 2.
Yes,
woo!
Finally,
4 years later, in 2012, right? We became the first podcast ever. And why aren't we in the Guinness Book of World Records?
Is there a category for that?
I'll look into it.
Because I think it's just submitting paperwork. We became
for what though?
The first podcast ever to release an episode on vinyl.
Okay.
Ever in the history of the universe.
Okay. And the medium.
There may be other people who lay little asterisks though, like you don't know if because the word podcast may be ill defined. So there may be radio shows that released.
Well, those are radio shows.
Okay.
Where we live and die by the podcast.
Yes. It is life and death.
And it took us 4 years.
Way more than when you were in the fire department.
It took us 4 years to come to a follow-up that we deemed worthy.
Not only is it a follow-up, not is it only called Vinylcast 2, but it is, since it's the second release,
Twice as big.
Twice as big means it's a double album.
Double album.
Now think about the world's greatest double albums. Quickly coming to mind. Frampton Comes Alive.
Okay.
Kiss Alive 1 and 2. The Wall. All gonna have to take a back seat now, baby. Because to a new fucking frontrunner, a new all-time great double album artist.
Yeah, there's a new kid on the scene. His name is
Physical Graffiti.
Yeah.
Throw it out. You're not going to need it anymore.
Right. Was Physical Graffiti a double album?
Yeah.
Oh. Song remains the same, right, too?
I don't know.
All right. Well, fuck all of them anyway.
Doesn't matter.
They can all suck a dick.
Nobody's even thinking about them right now because they're here.
Go suck a boner, Frampton.
What is but tell the people about the concept. What was the concept?
The concept is my 40th birthday was in March, so everybody got together and
everybody who's anybody in the Tell 'em Steve Dave world
came
together this night in Jersey at a comic book store to make podcasting history again.
To roast me.
Do you think they'll put that in the Guinness book?
With one direction: do not hold back. Remember that shit that you said we're going to say about Ming all those years ago and we had you pull it out?
Yeah.
That was fucking par for the course.
And he used it.
And he used it in
You're going to
this.
get to hear it.
What you thought, you wondered, what was Brian told not to say in that Christmas episode?
Yeah.
Well, now it's revealed.
Oh, man. Is it ever?
And that's why when I say, like, I don't think distance to myself is the wrong word, but I do feel
because you did great.
Well, we don't need to put lipstick on a pig because it's so strong anyway. It doesn't matter what I did or didn't do. That roasting somebody and being ruthless and just bloodthirsty for with the insults.
Right.
I found it difficult to do. I definitely was uncomfortable in it, but it was in Brian's. This was what Brian was built for.
Yes.
This is what he was. That was what he was put on this earth to do.
And apparently a lot of other people were too, because nobody disappointed.
Ming Chen, I've dubbed him the assassin now after this.
Yeah.
Because he is literally ruthless. He says shit that you would not believe your beloved Ming Chen would say.
And we were like, when we did it, we were like, well, who should lead off? You know, where should we place people? You know, you
so
could always
nervous because we were like, we're gonna lead off with somebody who's, you know, maybe not going to be all that great in the material. So for some reason we thought Ming wouldn't be, but my God, were we wrong.
Fuck.
The bar was immediately set so fucking high that it's like, holy shit.
And the reason that LaDon, though, is so bonerific for the release is he fucking comes in like a fucking vicious surgeon, just ripping pieces out of everybody.
That was my one regret, was that I didn't really go after him because I had no idea that he had that level of anger in him. You know, just a couple like throwaway jokes and here's Chris Redondo. And then, yeah, he really went for it, man. He went for the jugular.
Here's some of the artists that you can look forward to hearing on
Right.
Vinyl Cast 2. Michael Zapsik.
Right.
Get him Steve Dave.
Another guy who came out swinging.
Sunday Jeff.
All
Maxwell.
Framptons.
Stacey Patella. First time ever she will speak.
That's right. There are some of friends of mine that couldn't be in the room sent in tapes, roasts, if you will. We got Doug Stanhope, comedy legend, comes at me pretty hard. Sal Vulcano,
Yeah.
Joe Gatto,
Owen
Benjamin, Stacey Patella makes a tape. Fucking horribly ripping me apart.
Justin.
Rick and Morty. Not even Justin Roiland.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty call in and fucking roast the shit out of me. In a fucking very surprising tact that they take. That I don't want to ruin for you, but if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, and you've always wanted to hear them viciously and vulgar-esquely rip apart an Impractical Joker, it's there.
We got Ian K. Morris.
Ian Morris, yes.
Maxwell, Mikey Z, which is Zapsik. Everybody who ever appeared on all your
Somewhere
alumni.
Frank 3's like, huh.
Well, Frank 3 was invited. He didn't
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
As usual.
Right.
But this album is now available at tellhimstevedave.com. Go check it out. It's on Merch Table. Double album. You're going to get the digital download upon purchase.
Right.
So the album may ship to you. It may take a week or 10 days, but you'll be able to listen to the episode as soon as you buy it.
And that's already worked out with Merch Table, right?
It's already done.
Done
They
deal.
got it.
They got it. It's done. And in celebration of the release of Vinyl Cast 2, another major announcement, Q.
What's that?
The re-release of Vinyl Cast 1, the Foam Face Edition.
Oh, boy. For all the foam faces that didn't get in on the Vinyl Cast the first time.
We said we would never do it.
That wasn't true.
Obviously,
We lied.
But it was a lot of people, a lot of listeners were bummed out they could never get this or listen to this.
Right.
And I don't know if it was you or Brian who came up with the idea. Well, let's change the artwork on the cover, which we just changed a couple colors, and we put a stamp on it right on the front that says Foam Face Edition.
Right.
So there's no ifs, ands, or buts that you're getting the inferior version.
You are definitely getting the inferior version.
And paying top dollar for it.
And the disc is white. Remember?
Is that true?
Oh, it better be. We ordered them in white.
If that's true, then it is white.
So possibly.
I've not seen them, so I don't know.
Yeah, as I recall, the foam face editions are all white vinyl.
In the tradition of foam.
Right? That's right.
I imagine that's why we did it, right?
Yeah, you're fucking foam face. You're a foam face. You know what that means.
But you have to embrace it. You got to embrace it. You fucked up.
You fucked up. You're a foam face. Now you're getting the white vinyl, the foam face edition stamp.
Yeah, the logo is a different color now, and it says, and you can't miss it. It's a gigantic stamp on the front that says foam face edition, and there's more celebration, Q.
Yes,
we had put aside of our own personal stash some first pressings of VinylCast 1.
That's right. The original.
I was planning on sending my kids to college with that money. But since I was outvoted on the foam face edition, it now made my first pressings worthless.
or worth $15 more than the foam face edition.
That's right. You can now there are only these are a handful.
There's like 50 of them, right?
Yeah, I think there's less than 100.
Yeah, okay.
And there's less of 100 up there. Once they're gone, they are gone. There will be no more first pressings.
This is the last of them.
This is the aftermarket. We've essentially killed the market for the first pressings anyway,
right? With
the foam face edition. But if you are a completist and you want the first pressing, it's there now.
Right.
It won't be there forever. So if you don't, please don't email me. There are no more if you get there too late.
I think there's like one or two reds in there too, right?
Don't say those things.
Okay,
we don't know for sure. Don't get people so hopes up.
All right,
but with the VinylCast 2,
yeah,
the first 350 people who order, are going to get something unique and special, a little special insert that we put in the first 350 copies, a piece of the original felt from the table where we recorded all those episodes from.
That's right.
So when everybody over the summer was like, "Oh, what the fuck? Why'd you take the felt off? Where is it?" and couldn't answer those questions,
a special swatch is included of the felt in the first 350 copies that go out.
Is it the first 350 copies that go out, or is it randomly? It's not random.
It's not random. I thought it would be best to do it as the first 350.
But they won't know if they're one of the first 350 until they get
the album. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the fucking second they hear it.
Well, that's why this is like Pavlov's dog, right? Is that how you say it?
Sure, Pavlov's dog.
Yeah. Listen to fucking Tell 'em Steve Dave when it drops on fucking immediately. Stop what you're doing. Don't wait 10 days to listen to it because you're missing out on good shit.
Right.
That's what makes you a foam face.
Yes. If you don't want to be a foam face, then listen to the episode when it comes out so you don't miss out on stuff like this. I know, hey, you got a life, you got kids, so do I.
Get over it.
Yeah. You're doing more than listening. You're down here fucking doing this shit.
Yes. So, this is one of those reasons why you should be listening immediately as Tell 'em Steve Dave drops.
Right.
I understand life gets in the way, but still, don't cry about it.
Feel... Because this is one of the best episodes of Tell 'em Steve Dave ever. I honestly feel the roast. It's fucking, it's undeniable.
It will.
It's undeniable.
I know if people are going they're talking it up.
No.
I think it's word of mouth. We don't even need to. So word of mouth will.
I didn't say it about the first one. I wasn't like it's one of our best episodes ever.
Well, it was more about the novelty and about the achieving, the being first, like being the first man on the moon.
Right.
That mission didn't go so smooth. That wasn't the best.
But it got on the moon.
Yeah, they got there though.
Right.
I hear they left a whole bunch of shit up there that they weren't supposed to.
Yeah. Like they shit all over the place?
No, not literal shit.
Stool on the moon.
Stooling on the moon.
Things, but they refined that mission, until they got it just right, just like VinylCast.
Right.
It's been refined now till it's the perfect beast.
So do you think that this is going to be the start of a Tell 'em Steve Dave roast series? Not necessarily on vinyl.
I don't know.
Because it's so fucking good. Ladondo's up for it.
Yeah, I know almost everybody.
He's got the next 6 written already.
I think everybody but me and Mike wouldn't want it or would not be looking forward to that.
Mike takes a lame bass sting.
Yeah, Mike gets pretty hard.
Well, I don't even mean that Mike wouldn't be looking forward to it. I just think me and him are not interested or don't. It doesn't appeal to us to sit down and try to deconstruct or right in front of everybody, all their friends. And
like just dismantle their humanity.
Because the way a roast works.
That's how it works. And I knew going in that's what it was going to be like, but I can't say that I was comfortable doing it.
Well, that's why James Murray from Impractical Jokers recused himself. He had said it's not really his thing. He doesn't like being that mean.
Yeah, I can understand.
He doesn't understand why people would even do it. So he was like, basically you gotta respect it. The guy's basically saying, I love you too much to sit there and rip on you.
And the only reason I did it was because of the fat Vinylcast money. I sold my soul just like for fucking.
Are you worse than Hitler?
Are you worse than Hitler? I sold out on all my principles.
Yeah. But at the same time, I did it for love.
Yeah, because the way it works, right, is like so. There's a dais and I'm up there, and they're supposed to be roasting me, but they really it's an excuse to take pot shots at everybody.
It's not just you. That's in the
I get at least at times.
I mean, everybody gets put under the microscope, and like Brian said, dismantled, and some worse than others, but. Yeah. It's all done, but people will be laughing. I think some people will be shocked too.
I know.
I think you're right. I think some people are going to be like, holy shit.
They're going to be so
it gets
shocked
fucking raw. Yeah.
That they're going to be like, their jaws will hit the floor. How harsh and how heinous it could get.
Because that was the rule. You cannot hold back.
We were going to the Friar Club. What's it called?
Yeah, Friars Club.
Rules. So it was like you either come hard or don't come at all.
That's a bunch of old fucking Borscht Belt comedians. I would say more like the Comedy Central roast these days.
Yeah. But I would put this on par with the Comedy Central ones. Like if you're a Tell 'em Steve-Dave fan.
Oh yeah, you're not. If you're looking for cruel and
cold-hearted
and going, like if you need a safe word. Don't if you use safe words, do not come into don't buy this Vinylcast because it's brutal, it's unrelenting, and it should get a rated M. We should have put a rated M on the front cover.
Yeah.
The great Wayne Jansen comes back and he helps out with the front cover.
Okay, I was like, who the fuck?
Well, we didn't even talk about the artwork yet.
Well, they can go check it out. There's no to talk about it. Go look at it on our merch table right now. It's up there. It's ready to order, and I go review it. I don't know where you can review it, but find somewhere. Let us know what you think, though.
Yeah, right now we're not selling it digitally or anything like that. We're not selling it digitally.
You get a digital download with it.
Right, but it's not for sale on iTunes or Bandcamp or anything.
No, this is the only place you can get it.
Right now.
We will never release it.
No, don't say that.
We always relent anyway.
So, I don't think did the original buy?
No, it didn't.
That'll come with a digital download, too.
Oh, really? Okay, great.
Vinylcast 1, if you buy the first pressing, you're getting a digital download of the content.
And the foam face.
The foam face, you're getting a digital download of the content. Vinylcast 2, you're getting a digital download of the content.
So with the caveat that we do lie and go back on our words, this will never be released for sale digitally.
Maybe when the vinyls sell out.
Right.
Because we're only doing this one pressing. Wink, wink.
We printed a lot.
Bit, so it may be a while, but yeah, if you're interested in hearing it and you're going to wait for just to buy the digital only, you're going to have a long wait.
It'll be a while.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So do it, man.
So what is it? TellEmSteveDave.com brings you to the page.
You're going to bring right to it.
Don't be a foam face.
This is the perfect Christmas gift for Tell 'em Steve Dave listener, right? I mean, this is the
or
Impractical Joker.
Or Impractical Joker, right?
That's where we got to sell this as
what
a Joker product.
Yeah. You want to hear Joe Gatto be fucking vicious?
Joe Gatto says some shit that, it's not the
holy fuck,
the fun-loving nice Joe that
he handed it to me, and he was like, I hope I didn't go too far. And I listened and I was laughing so hard. I was like, this motherfucker has got a mean streak.
It was great. Yeah. He was
We're all good with the IJ crowd, right? They're all on board. You didn't burn any bridges when you said anything about IJ, did you?
No, I don't think so. There seems to be some sort of when I was like, Hugh's not going to be your girlfriend, just cut the shit a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we should have.
People got upset at that?
You really should have fucking not said that until the release. Speaking of until the release of the Vinylcast, and speaking of I was trying so hard to get this out before 300, so we have to give Mrs. Ginnam a copy. But she's getting one.
She's listening.
Congratulations, Mrs. Ginnam.
Yeah. Oh, you fucking shit. So we're just
not only is she getting Vinyl Cast 2, she's getting a foam face.
Oh, come on.
There's no way she's getting the special felt swatch, though, right? I mean, you're going to draw the line.
No, she's not getting a felt swatch.
Right,
the little extras were not promised.
Have we even heard from her?
No.
So we don't even know where to send it.
Yes, I have all her.
Sure, we do. Fucking Giddim's crawl space.
But don't worry. Yeah, I hope maybe she was listening to this and she already placed an order. You can't cancel it, Mrs. Giddam. I got 2.
Go to eBay and put it on there.
Why don't you stop being such a fucking skell and just order this shit instead of expecting us to hand you everything for free, Mrs. Giddam?
This is her first, but in her defense, this is her first time she's actually getting something.
What do they say in BioShock? What's he saying?
The parasites.
The parasites.
This is the first piece. This is her first actual thing that she can look at and say, like, well, at least I got this.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, nothing else. Hey, what's with this moulignon and the hot dogs?
You know, speaking of somebody who works at a comedy network, you had me at my son died of leukemia.
Are you worse than Jared from Subway Challenge? Tell him, Steve Dave.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Tell 'em Steve Dave. Yes, Q.
Yeah?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What the fuck's happening?
Are you enthused?
No, not really.
No?
What should I be enthused about?
I don't know. Simi.
Oh, well, that I am enthused about. Yes, I am.
I know I am. Simi is, why don't you introduce him, Q?
Simi is, say hi, Simi, so they know who I'm talking about.
Hey, how are you, Q?
Okay. Simi is the,
Q. You don't know us. Why wouldn't you say hello to us?
Sorry. Hey, guys. I'm super rude.
Don't take that shit, Sim. Simi is the true, I mean, I guess the only way to say it is you're the network executive assigned to Impractical Jokers, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and as such...
The only one?
Yeah, right now, the only one.
The only one we need, buddy.
That's right.
Because...
I thought that machine needed more than one man.
Yeah, you would think so, right?
Well, he does a good job.
What's Simi short for?
It's actually short for my Hebrew name, Simcha. So, just a little easier.
So
a little easier
that
to
is
say.
so fucking weird. That was my high school nickname.
Simcha?
Simcha. Yeah.
You look like a Simcha.
Yeah, I do, right?
Simi is very religious, right? Like you keep to the word.
I keep the Sabbath. Like, the whole thing, keep kosher.
No, he's a comedy guy. He's not. Don't worry about
it. A Christian guy versus a Hebrew guy versus a Satanist.
I was going to pitch a show today. It may not work so much if.
You got a show to pitch, Simi?
Super religious.
No. He's don't worry about that.
No. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it had something to do with Hitler or something, which normally it does. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. So Simi, so what happened is each network, I mean, each show kind of has an overseer at the network. And Simi is our overseer. How long have you been on the show now? Years now.
3 years, yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
And everybody before Simi was a fucking disaster. And some of them still work at the network. And last time I called one a disaster, I got in trouble for it. But I can say it now anyway. I don't care.
But Simi's not going on record as saying this person was a disaster.
I don't think so because he's got to work right next door to him.
No, I think the people who I'm pretty sure the executives who used to work on the show aren't at the network anymore.
All of them.
I think you chased them all away, Q.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, there are definitely people involved in the show. We have other people who work on the show, in other roles.
But we didn't really have problems with anybody except for it was tough getting us an executive that we like. Well, one, the president of the network was kind of. What's the word, Simi? Asshole?
I'll leave this one to you, Q.
Okay, he's kind of an asshole. I mean, he had his lovable moments, but for the most part, he was very difficult to work with. And for the first couple of years of Impractical Jokers' existence, I'm sure it's been documented on this show, we had a very difficult relationship with the network. New president comes in, Chris Lynn, Marissa, who found our show, got promoted. Now we have a great relationship with the network, and Simmy's a big part of that. We actually like him. And he's funny. He helps out the show and stuff like that. That's why he's here, because I like him.
When I came on, there was definitely there was. It felt like you guys were coming out of an abusive relationship.
Yes, without a doubt. They couldn't even lift a hand to pet us without us looking to bite.
Recoiling.
Yeah, exactly.
Hackles up.
You wouldn't think it'd be like that.
Yeah, it was majorly like that.
Really?
So you got treated like shitbirds at first.
Well, you didn't want to do.
Like the first season of the show, our ratings were pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty strong. They might even be better than they are now, actually, because now they just play us all the time so people can watch whatever. But the first season of the show, we were getting high. But this crew, this top crew at the time, would watch the show minute by minute, ratings wise. Like they could break down that. Mm-hmm. And if it dipped, he would look at that minute of the show, call us up to the network to yell at us about the content of that 1 minute. And then he would be like, well, now I want you to write jokes. All right, let's say the bit is we're working in the comic book store and you have to do whatever I tell you to. This particular president wanted us to submit a packet of jokes for what we might say if an Asian woman walked in, if a little kid walked in, and he would want to approve or have one of his executives approve each joke. So we would write it, send it up. They would write yes or no next to it and send it back. And we wouldn't do it. Like we would either fight against it or we would have a secret page of jokes for ourselves, or we would just make it up in the spot and totally ignore it. And it would just create all these problems.
That was always a feeling I got, that when you're telling people to say stuff.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff might be written ahead of time, but a majority of it was just like off the cuff, like we do.
All the best stuff is off the cuff,
right?
But in a world where you guys aren't live, this isn't happening a lot. Like it's not streaming live. What difference does it make what you say? That you could just be edited out, whatever joke you make that they might not like, and the final cut would belong to them.
Because
if they let it go through, then whose fucking fault is it that they're not happy with it?
Well, then we would get to the edit.
Where were you 5 years ago? Well, it went to bat for him.
Then we would get to the edit, and then it would be a whole nother fight. Like every part was a joke, and we don't really work like that. We don't. I mean, I haven't written a fucking joke for the show in years. You know what I mean? Because now we're so used to it, and we know what we're doing. We just get up and just kind of do our things. We still have writers. You know what I mean? Casey and the guys and stuff like that. But
I feel like the network's in a different place, though. Also, like when Jokers came out. I mean, this is even before my time. When I started 4 years ago at True, Jokers was already on the air. And it was really the only comedy, because you had like Hardcore Pawn, and you had Lizard Lick Towing, all these like tow truck shows, and then you had Jokers, and I feel like a lot of the people at the network probably didn't know what to do with the comedy.
Why did the network move away from all the towing shows?
I miss them. Don't you?
What's that hot dog show you loved?
Wiener Circle.
Oh, Wiener Circle, sure.
But I mean, Jennifer Lopez was involved with the tow. With the
South
Beach
tow.
Yeah. I think actually Jokers had a lot to do with that. I think that Chris Lynn came in as the new president of the network, and they decided we wanted to do more comedy, and I think the tow truck shows, those shows got a pretty decent number, but I think advertisers especially weren't crazy about it.
They would be considered not comedy, because it definitely looked like they were trying to go for laughs.
Yeah, it was like reality comedy. It was a little different, I mean, this Jokers is a reality show, but it's not like it's not the docu-series, like the docu-follow shows like Lizard Lick Towing. No, Comic Men's a little different.
Yeah.
I feel like a show because Lizard Lick Towing, it was sort of like this created drama. People getting into huge fights and
poor
brawls.
People yelling at each other.
Exactly. It's those kinds of shows that I feel like the network wanted to move away from, and more into shows like Jokers, like Carbonaro Effect, which is hidden camera magic show, and then we started doing some scripted stuff as well.
Did they ever suggest that the Jokers tow some cars back in the day? Maybe to get in line with the rest of the network programming?
Jennifer Lopez's car.
I would tow her car anyway. They did after the first season, and I think the first season, I mean, what we got paid was just insanely laughable. And when we asked for a raise for the second season, the president of the network at the time told us, Simi, you were not there for this, thank God, that, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll focus test the show. And the 3 jokers who test the best will keep on the show. We're going to fire the 4th one and give his salary to the other 3. Like, that's what we were dealing with.
I never heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah, just for asking for, like, a raise.
I feel like that's something I'd go along with.
I was going to say, could you do that?
Well, if you're the joker that tests the least, you don't want that.
I'm speaking from a personal.
Comic book man, you'd roll the dice with that? You'd roll the dice. You'd play Russian roulette. With when the cast of Comic Book Men, you walk into Original Media and you're like, and they present that to you. We're like, okay, you want to raise Mr. Johnson, but here's what we'll do: we'll test an episode, and the Comic Book Man who gets the least approval is going to walk.
I feel like that's playing Russian roulette with an unloaded gun.
You think you're safe?
I would do that.
Okay.
Horrible.
They wanted me to stop doing Tell 'em Steve Dave, the original thing.
I never heard this.
They
never
did.
told us this.
They threatened
for it. Yeah,
they threatened to sue me. And
why? What were they afraid of? Well,
because we were going into production of Comic Book Men, and they were worried that I was going to bleed into, because in my contract with True, it says that I can do Tell 'em Steve Dave.
I knew that, yeah.
And that I can do any TV shows based on Tell 'em Steve Dave. And they were concerned, or he was concerned, I should say, that AMC was greenlit Comic Book Men just to get back at him because he had worked for them and quit and was trying to steal me off the show. Now,
do you think he believes right now they're still getting back at him? 6 years later.
I don't know what he believes, because he can be a maniac.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is. So, Marissa, who still works at True, who's one of the people, called me up and was like, she was in such a hard position, because she was basically like, I got this president network who's a maniac telling me to call you to tell you to quit this thing. You know, and I had a very rational conversation with her, and she was just like, well, you're right, I can't ask you not to do this. This is insane. So she went back to the network and fought for me, which is why I always have a soft spot in my heart for Marissa. On top of that, she's also insanely beautiful. A lot of reasons that I have.
She saved Tell 'em Steve Dave?
She's
just some woman that we don't even know?
Not only did she greenlight Impractical Jokers. Yeah. She greenlit Impractical Jokers. She was the one that got Jokers made, but she also saved Tell 'em Steve Dave. Yeah.
And no one even knows who she is.
She's an unsung hero.
Plus, she's a hottie.
She is also, she's a hottie.
Most importantly, no, you just mentioned it though.
Yeah. But that's overshadowed by her, professional achievements.
Right. Yeah. So you like Simi.
Oh, I like Simi a lot.
You weren't pressured into bringing a suit on to promote the show.
I get into fights with Simi.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, vicious fights with Simi.
We've gotten into it.
We've gotten into it a few times.
Not over religion.
Not over religion, but I've gotten into fights with Simi's where I've been screaming, and then 2 days later I feel really bad, and then I go then I'm overly nice for 6 months.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So
is Simi the guy sometimes when we hear you ranting and raving on the phone, that's who you're talking to?
It's usually Simi on the other end. Okay. Yeah.
It's been less of it though than I think. I think in the beginning there was more of it, right?
Well, because of the whip dog syndrome. But the latest thing was the Benjamin Cat shorts, which now I'm finally getting over.
Are you?
So I'm reaching out to Simi to try and build the bridges again.
This podcast is the olive branch.
Yeah. Well, lunch the other day was the olive branch.
Yeah.
Right. But he's also very funny, so I thought he'd be good on the show. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to come on here and say whatever he wanted. And I figured if he wanted to air grievances, he could.
That's like playing a Russian roulette again. He may say something that you may not like.
I know, but that's what I'm willing to do for our audience.
I'm sure every Joker is a joy to work with, but who's the most, who's the one that's like that you go to, well, let me go to him. He's absolutely the easiest, and I want to talk to him because he's the one that
Before you answer though, why don't you guess?
You go to this person because he's the most level-headed, the one that, I don't want to say in a bad way, but he's just easier to deal with than, because I'm sure they're all easy to deal with, but he's not. Extremely easy to work with. I'm going to say it's
Gatto. With 100%, it's Gatto.
It's interesting. I don't know. I feel like I go to each of them for different sorts of things. Yeah, Joe. I mean, Joe's the one I go to most for kind of nuts and bolts stuff with the show. I feel like Q, with Q, it's either going to be it's going to get super emotional, and it's usually going to come around. There's a lot of heart involved, but that can come both
You're normally
ways.
going back to Q for an apology for something. Right?
Exactly. You got to kind of buckle up when you're calling Q. And the conversations are going to get heated if it starts off with Q saying, listen, I don't even give a shit about this. I don't even care about this. Like, you could do whatever you want.
It means he really cares about it.
It means he really cares about it. Yeah. Yeah. That's usually nobody speaks more passionately about how little they give a shit about something than Q.
Which goes right to the fact then that like he's only fooling himself.
Oh yeah, completely.
So so it's Joe. Then
I mean, there's no real answer to who's the easiest to talk to.
Do you even ever talk to Sal at all?
I was going to say Sal and Murr I talk to the least in terms of we'll text or whatever about certain things. But I feel like I talk to to Joe most.
Right. But does anybody does anybody have a personal relationship with you like I have?
No.
Right?
No.
Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
I also kind of consider Simi a friend, so we'll just text.
I like how you say kind of.
Right. Well,
Yeah. I don't. No, I don't. I definitely don't have that level of a relationship with the other guys where I feel like we get into a fight, really have at it, and then sort of come around. So yeah, it's a different relationship for sure.
Who would he be comparable? Who is he the counterpart on Comic Book Man? Whose role is he? So I just have an idea of
who's the network suit on Comic Book Man.
Probably Marco, who I don't think you know. Like you met him that one day that he came in with his family
on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a powerful man.
This guy right here?
Extremely powerful.
Oh, yeah.
I just ooze power. You can sense it.
He does. Well, Simi does guide the comedy in the show. Like, if he doesn't like something, it doesn't get on.
Oh, so there is. Is a heavy hand.
I mean, I feel like sometimes, Q, you might disagree with this. I feel like sometimes, like, our job is to sort of, like, I feel like you guys could get close to it. Obviously, you're like in it all the time, and I feel like there have been times. I feel like sometimes when you and I have gotten into it, it's when there's something that you guys feel strongly about the fans are going to love, and I kind of look at it as like, yeah, but what about the, all the first-time viewers, all the people who don't know the show so well, that sort of thing. So I feel like that's sometimes when we get into it.
That's true.
So you are always trying to appeal to the broadest audience possible because every episode may be someone's first episode. So if they're calling something back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I look at I love callbacks. I love moments that sort of that fans can point to and love and feel like it's theirs. But at the same time, if there's something that specifically wouldn't be funny to people tuning in the first time or would feel kind of self-indulgent, that's usually when I get in there and say, well, maybe we could do this a different way.
They seem like indulgent guys. Do you find yourself crossing a lot of stuff off their list? These jokers.
Honestly, I have to say, there's very little. I mean, there's not a lot that we reject at this point.
Oh, look at him. He's looking at me.
Q's the most indulgent one, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, this is funny, Simi.
Yeah, I know funny. I think that's come up a couple times.
Oh! I know funny.
Should we get into the Staten Island map? Should we get into that?
We can get into the Staten Island map, but I don't think you're going to win that one.
Okay, well, we have a couple of members of the jury here that can help out with this one.
All right.
Ooh, trial.
Yes.
Fire ants. All right, go ahead.
Ants.
Go ahead. I don't think you're going to win this one.
No?
But I did apologize for this as well.
You did. And you brought it up a bunch of times. All right, great. So
he's ready to go. He wants to. He cannot wait to tell you that. He wants some validation.
Now
he got the okay from Q. He's like, fucking, I'm going for it.
Let's see how heavy this hand really can be.
You won. I lost this. So.
But Q saying I'm not going to win it now. So now I'm.
Well, you're not going to win in the trial by fire ants.
Right, let's do this.
But you won the call.
Well, this is a road game for me. I understand. So I don't know how.
Yeah.
But
don't.
Yeah.
These guys want me to be wrong. So
perfect. So here's what happened. I was only on the show for a couple of weeks probably at this point, and we were doing.
Really?
It was early on.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Dolgens had been there. Adam Dolgens was overseeing the show, and then he left, and then I took over at that point.
I like Dolgens a lot too.
Yeah, he's a good friend. He brought me in. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So what happened was we were designing a new show open, right? For if the fans know, the beginning of the show, it starts off and you see the guys, and there's animation behind them and all that, and it's the graphic open for the show. So the guys wanted all these Staten Island icons behind them in the show open, which made sense.
I feel right away he's jumping a lot of impertinent facts.
All right, you could fill in the blanks wherever you want.
Are there any important Staten Island landmarks
aside from the dump?
So you got the Verrazano Bridge, you got the Staten Island Ferry,
right? Which we put into the show open.
Sure,
I consider the Verrazano as belonging to Brooklyn, really, not Staten.
Well, hey, I'll give it a 50-50 thing on it.
So the guys took a look at the open, which looked amazing.
Well, we didn't. Well, hold on.
Okay,
let me stop you right there.
Yeah, go for it. I remember where we were standing on it. Going into season 3, it was the day we were shooting the Fatone thing. The day we were shooting with Joey Fatone at the diner, and I remember we were backstage.
I was on Houston when I was on the phone with you about this. I remember exactly where we were.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Here's what happened. Okay, the third season of a show. At that point, they were arguably or not forming the network around this. Right. Mm-hmm. This is just my perspective.
Here it comes.
We did not even find out that there was new opening graphics for the show until they sent it to us. So we were a little bit like, well, why wouldn't we be consulted on it?
Fair enough.
That was
okay, but that's okay. To be fair, that's not where you and I got into it.
That's not. But I'm just saying that I'm just giving my mindset right away.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
not consulted at all.
So you're not going to ask the guy who knows funny?
So the show open comes in. It looks great. The guys love it. They said, we just want some Staten Island icons in there. We want something in there, right? So Sal asked, so at one point it freeze frames on Sal and you see, I think it was the George Washington Bridge, or the Brooklyn Bridge. He asked to change to the Verrazano Bridge. We made that change. Right. At the end, they wanted, you see some water. They wanted the Staten Island Ferry. We did that. Q requested, there's a freeze frame of Q standing at a hot dog vendor, which is the moment that you see when the show starts. And it freeze frames and you just see the blue sky behind you. Q wanted a map of Staten Island behind him. Now, it's just blue sky, so from a design perspective, it doesn't really make any sense. So I talked to our design team. They didn't. You see me winning this one, Q. I can see that look. So
I don't see you winning.
All right,
this one. Keep going. Let me go.
Talk to our graphics people, our design people.
You're probably going to win this.
And
one.
they said, listen, we don't have a lot of time to make a lot of changes. We'll change the Verrazano Bridge. We'll change the Staten Island Ferry.
There's a problem. Why?
Okay. No. Okay.
Why are we allowed to give input when they are under the gun and don't have a lot of time?
I totally hear you. Again, not our fight though, right?
Because I didn't even like me at the hot dog stand, by the way. But I didn't even mention that. But anyway, keep going.
You're too kind.
Too phallic.
Well, it doesn't, it is.
Was it Wiener?
It sends the wrong message. They were just getting over the bad taste of the Wiener Circle.
Right. Yeah.
Now they're going to bring it back again.
Hey, what's with this moulin yan and the hot dogs? Freeze frame.
That's me in the opening credits. Saying a racial slur. Yeah. No, I'm glad they didn't go in that direction.
That was Wiener Circle's whole thing, man. They loved it.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't think they said Moulignana.
So the company's not able to swing what he wants.
Well, so Q wants the Staten Island map behind his head.
My one request,
which is kind of clunky. It's not very eye-appealing.
I mean, look, Q. I know that you love Staten Island. I love Breaking Bad is one of my favorite shows. I love pizza, but it'd be a little weird if in the opening credits for Breaking Bad, like a slice of pizza just floated by. It just doesn't make any sense to have a map behind your head.
Well, what were the opening credits of Breaking Bad?
It was just the elements, the table, the.
It was very quick too.
Yeah, it was very quick. Okay,
10 seconds.
Fine.
I'm still waiting to see why it's funny though.
So what happened was
why he would use like funny.
Oh no, this is a different one.
This is an unrelated issue.
So I was gonna say because I was like Q, I was like holy shit, I'm like I have to go to fucking
no. And I was a little misquoted there too, by the way. But yes.
Spending more than fucking Trump was last night. If I'm going to have to say that he thought the Staten Island map behind him was going to be funny.
Can you believe Babyface over here doesn't think a map can get yucks?
We start getting into it on email. Q starts sending emails talking about how this is our show. How can we not get what we want? And I said something like
one request I had,
and I wrote back something like. Listen, we gave you the Verrazano Bridge. We gave you this. Maybe you just can't win them all. And that was not the right thing to say to Q. And then we started getting into it on text. And then my favorite line that Q texted me that night, you could fill a book with our text messages that night, was, Simi, you're shaking a hornet's nest. That was my favorite line.
Oh.
There's a lot of alpha dogs in the Jokers, huh?
Yeah, 4 of them.
Well, I'm talking
we don't really flex
about
much.
the whole ensemble.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You mean like even behind the scenes, are there a lot of alpha dogs too?
I don't know. I mean, I think I
think like a shelter full of alpha dogs.
No, I mean, honestly, I think it's a great team, and everyone really works together well. They're just like that was a bump, and it was fine, and we got past it. But
well, I remember from my perspective this was still, to be fair, in the dog whip days. You understand, when we were used to just catching shit all the time,
right?
And we, like, for instance, the only time we ever threatened to walk off the show was when they promised to put the Twitter handles. You weren't there for this.
No, I was.
Oh, you were?
Wait, yeah, I was. That was one of our fights about the Twitter handles in Act 4. It was such a stupid little thing. Are you sure?
No,
we're talking about different ones. We're talking about something else.
It wasn't Act 4.
You're right. It was the Twitter handles in general.
In general,
right? That was before me.
You wanted them.
We were promised them,
right?
And then the premiere was coming up, and they were saying, "Well, we're not going to put them in."
You mean like popping up in the graphics
when we go on? At the time, we had just started touring, so we were like, "Look, the Twitter is going to help us build the touring and blah blah blah." So True had not True. People over there were trying to pull it. Because what's a hashtag going to mean in 20 years and all this stuff going on.
So they're worried about reruns of Jokers.
Reruns of Jokers
right.
in 2030.
Right, exactly.
Always thinking ahead.
Right.
So it's going to run like the Honeymooners.
So we had
every New Year's.
Memorial
Day. Moon, Joe.
Hey, you know what? So far it is, though.
That's true.
So the only time that we were able to the only way we were able to pull that off is just by threatening to walk off the show. We were literally like, if it doesn't air next week with the Twitter handlers, we're walking off the show. With the Twitter handles, we're walking off the show. And that was just before Simi came. So that's what I meant by the shaking the hornet's nest thing, because I was like, but I was also in a very bad mood.
In fairness, I do remember you saying, when I said, you can't win them all, you said something like, you know how many times I've lost in this battle with you guys? And I was like, wait, let's start a new relationship. Right. And that's when things started getting better.
You should come to, if you ever, if it ever turns out you move on, you want to, comic book men, there's no alpha dogs. It's all fucking lap dogs.
Yeah. Everybody's the Zeta.
We just, whatever, like, crumb falls down. We must scurry and try to push each other out of the way for it. But, it's a sly look, and you'll get whatever you want.
Like a threatening hand up.
Yeah. So what do you want to say? I'll say it.
You need to work on a show where people have absolutely no power whatsoever.
We don't have a lot of power. We don't.
I will say, I think we're about to start season 6. I think the relationship's great, and honestly, like I'm telling the truth here. Like, it's a great team.
It is,
and the four of them really are great to work with. I mean, we've gotten into it, but that's only because we're both passionate about the show, and it always ends in respect.
And the last fight wasn't even a badass show. But it was, so the map one was a little bit like I was just left over from like just getting it from the network up the ass for fucking 2 years straight.
I like how you shrunk from I'm going to win this battle to
I'm not going to win
that. You thought he was going to lose?
Yeah, I just said that. There's not. I lost the battle already. There's another one.
What was the what did the graphic eventually turn out to be?
Just a blue sky.
Oh, it was just a blue sky.
It's Q standing there in front of a hot dog, cart, and then just blue sky behind him, which makes sense.
This doesn't make a lot of sense.
So it wasn't like a Big Ange mural or something.
No. And then, but do you remember what broke the argument on the phone?
On that one?
Yeah.
No.
Because you got upset that I was cursing. Do you
no.
This? That is what happened.
There's no way I got. Oh,
dude!
If you were like "fuck you," I might have been.
No. I was like "fuck this, fuck that," because you know how when I get angry, blah blah blah. No, I would never in my anger be like, "Go fuck yourself." But you had said something to me like, "Stop! Would you just fucking stop cursing and stuff like that?" And then I was like, "Holy fuck, I am cursing a lot." And then I was like, "I'm sorry, Sam." I was like, "It's a fucking firehouse type." Like I get angry, we all curse at each other, right. And you were like, "No, I'm not." And then you go, "Look, I'm not saying I'm not a man. I can't take it. You were just like, you're just cursing a lot." And then that sort of broke the argument and moved on.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to be viewed as like a lady having delicate sensibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any psychology courses and background?
My wife's a psychologist, so I...
you must talk to her about Q all the time.
I do,
right?
yeah.
No. That's great. Got a chance, Q.
Yeah.
He's playing you like a fiddle, man, like a fucking fiddle.
I really am. And I got 3 young daughters.
Charlie Daniels wrote a song about that, I thought.
I've heard stories, and I wouldn't have thought it at first, but as time has gone on, I guess I can imagine it. Sal being sort of a diva. Excel's very diva-ish, huh?
I don't know, Q, you'd know better than me.
Nobody wants to commit.
Sal is very particular.
Yeah.
He likes things his way, and if he does not, he's all right when he doesn't get his way. So I'm not trying to be delicate. I'm trying to word it in a way that it's understood. Like, if Sal feels he's right, you're wrong.
Right.
No matter what.
There's no margin of error.
There's a zero margin of error. And that's when dealing with everybody on the show, that's what you have to deal with Sal. If he's late, if he's 2 hours late to set, and you display annoyance about it, you're just as bad as the traffic that made him get late. Does that make sense? Like, there's no part of him that's just like, oh man, I held up. Like, I'm sorry. It was like, well, what the fuck did you want me to do? I mean, that's
right.
Sal's thing.
Leave earlier.
You can't say that to Sal.
Yeah,
that you can't say to Sal. So that's Sal's picadillo.
I'll say, I mean, one thing that's always impressed me is that you guys, like, it seems like, I don't know, maybe this is just on the surface, but it seems like the four of you, like, put out fires in terms of fights amongst the four of you very quickly.
Very quickly.
You know, you guys spend so much time together, the four of you, and I've seen moments where you guys sort of snip at each other, and then it just quickly diffuses, and I've always been impressed by that.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
What the fuck else are you going to do?
Yeah, but you look at how many, bands have broken up, people spend too much time together, and I feel like you guys have been able to make it work.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's actually I would say right now is the best we've been in 3 years.
That's great.
Like we really kind of we sat down. We had like a Metallica, some kind of monster.
Your wife came in to fucking mediate?
No, not with anything like that. Just like the
Dr.
four of
Drew
us sat down and like opened the floodgates in terms of frustrations and hashed everything out.
Was it the trust tree? Like anyone could say anything they wanted, or
yes.
Do you think people held back?
Nobody.
At all?
I can guarantee you, nobody fucking held back. Yeah, but we walked away from it a stronger, tighter unit.
Maybe that's what we should do. We get a season 7. We have some kind of monster thing, and we.
Are we in need of one? I thought we were. I thought everybody's on a good.
No, I mean, we could just go after Mike and Ming. I think you just use it as an excuse.
But how's that different from anything?
Just do it off camera.
That's an episode. Why would you waste that off camera?
That's true.
Yeah.
So Joe's the most reasonable. Q maybe.
Well, Joe's the most
least.
But it all goes in waves. Like there are times where Joe's reasonable, there are times where Joe's not reasonable, and same thing with you. I feel like it just depends on how emotional you guys are about what the topic at hand.
Has anyone tried to push any agendas? That's what happens with shows. Like people get like I know Joe's into like the anti-bullying thing.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen that on the show. No. But I know if
they've asked us to not wear Tenderloin shirts. They've asked us not to wear Tell 'em Steve Dave shirts, but we've just ignored it.
Why no Tell 'em Steve Dave shirt?
I think it was.
We just hate the show.
It was that?
We just hate it.
Yeah. No, I think it was because it wasn't you. It wasn't the executive. It was the ads department. They're like, well, why are we selling ads if you guys are advertising your own stuff for free? It was like this whole thing. We just ignored it and it went away.
Right.
For the most part, the network's a dream to work with these days. Yeah. Like it really is.
It kind of makes for a boring podcast interview, but honestly, there's not a lot of drama between us. I mean, I feel like the truth is we don't ask them to stop sort of pushing that stuff. If Q wants to do something about the Firehouse, we'd love to do something about the Firehouse because the show is them. I mean, it really is who they are. So if it's
Staten Island maps aside,
exactly, nonsensical Staten Island graphics.
Like, do you look back and think like, oh God, why was that a?
No,
why did I go to the map for that?
I still that's still deep inside.
You're hoping in a next Lego season coming up?
No, I've given up now. And now I just
season 7. We're just gonna have a big Staten Island map over your face.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. They do they miss no opportunity to let the viewer know that they love Staten Island.
Oh yeah,
that they're from Staten Island, shoving Staten Island down your throat.
Yeah,
like anybody cares, right?
And all four of you, right? I mean, I feel like all four of you are pretty passionate.
Yeah, well, because it gets such a bad rap.
Mm-hmm. Is it a challenge now going into season 6 to pull off challenges and not have everybody know who the fuck they are now?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that that more people don't in those moments. And people ask about that all the time. People on Twitter were asking about that today. It's just, I think part of it, I've talked to Pete McParland, who's the showrunner. We talk about this all the time, that it seems like part of it's the fact that if you watch the show, they go one at a time, right? They're usually not all four of them out there. So, if Q's shopping, if he's in the produce section of Fairway, and even if you know the show, it might take you a little while to realize that it's him, as opposed to seeing all four of them together. So I think out of context, some people just don't pick up on it. I don't know. And there's something about New York that people just don't seem to care.
There's
so many tourists
people on a 7 Mile island. It's like 17 mile. How long is Manhattan?
It's pretty long.
So anyway, we can get into the other stuff later. It's. What do you want to do? You want to pitch shows? You want to?
I don't know if I could do it now. I didn't know
because Simmy's Jewish.
Well, you can't pitch to a Jewish guy?
Are you the kind of are you
rough.
the kind of Jewish person that like you won't turn on a light on Saturdays, or you will do that?
I actually wouldn't, but does that preclude you guys from pitching a show about using electricity on Shabbat?
Because my brother-in-law, he works for a cable company, and if he said that there's certain people will call and be like, my TV doesn't work.
Yeah.
Have him come out, and he'll turn the TV on because it works. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And they're like,
it's called being a Shabbos goy.
They find ways
to get
their TV.
Being a Shabbos goy. A goy is a non-Jew, and Shabbos, Shabbat is like the Jewish Sabbath. So it's like a non-Jew who can, some people, I wouldn't do this, but some people, will find someone who isn't Jewish who lives in the apartment next door and ask them to turn on a light or turn on the TV.
That's what I've heard. Like, there's a workaround.
Yeah, there's a lot of loopholes in this religion.
Practical Jokers is on, man. How the fuck am I going to watch it? You got to get to come over and
it's not. It's probably frowned upon in Judaism. I wouldn't do that if we need it. Everyone has different levels of observing, different religions. For us, if a light's off and we need it on, I'd just turn it on. But we generally speaking try not to and try to abide by it.
Why wouldn't you just keep it on all the time though?
That's what
you guys you're making.
Oh,
your wife is a psychologist. Why would you have to turn a light off ever?
Rolling in debt. We just keep lights on all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
I guess the only fear would be the light bulb will burn out.
Well, I have Alexa that I go, Alexa, all lights on, and the lights come on. Would you be allowed to do that?
Why, that would still
you have what?
Like, the Amazon voice assistant, Alexa?
Yeah?
My lights are hooked up to her. So if I go Alexa lights on, the lights come on.
Yeah, I saw him do it, yeah.
That still would be turning it on.
I think that would be turning it on.
Your actions are turning it on.
Exactly, because you're initiating the spark, I guess.
And that's just Saturday?
Yeah, it's Friday night and Saturday. It's from sundown on Friday until an hour after sundown on Saturday every week.
Huh. Yeah. And then the tour says nothing about Alexa, though? There's no mention?
Doesn't mention Alexa or the clapper or anything else.
So life is actually a little easier for you on Saturdays in the winter.
It slows down, yeah.
Because it's darker at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's stressful leaving work because, if we have, a deadline to meet and it's 3 o'clock, I just got to get out of there because that's one thing I won't mess with. I'm definitely home by that time.
Because it gets you out of work early. Yeah, I'm with you.
Exactly. It's great. You imagine not using your iPhone for 25 hours. It's pretty great. There's
right.
and family. I'm married. We got 3 kids, and it's nice to know that every Friday night, no matter what, and no matter how crazy my life is, I'm going to be sitting there with them, and it's going to be quiet. So there's definitely some nice things about it. You guys are thinking about it, huh?
I'm thinking about converting.
It sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
But if the TV's not on, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you got to talk to each other. Yeah. So there's the.
You're staying Christian.
There's the rub.
Well, but after everybody goes to bed, though, then you're like, well.
You're kind of bored.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I would like the TV on Thursday night then make sure it just stays on.
Yeah, I'm a big Mets fan, so I've missed some major moments.
Like the World Series and whatnot.
Yeah. So that's where.
Could you could light a candle?
You can, yeah. Or you could, I might leave a TV on in the basement, that sort of thing, and just happen to walk by. So there's
that is,
oh God, did I leave that on again?
That's got to be some major league cheating, though, right?
Yeah, it's all in the loopholes. If you're not technically turning it on, but people would say it's not in the spirit of the Sabbath.
Do you have like what Christianity has, like a confession? Would you have a rabbi you confess to? I left the TV on purpose because the World Series was on.
No, just
So you don't even. So there's no repercussions.
Yeah, it's more just between you and the man upstairs, I guess.
But could you set a timer to go on?
You could. It's people do that, and people put, we set timers on our lights in the house, that sort of thing.
That makes sense. Okay.
But it's
because you also have kids, so safety is a concern.
Exactly.
Right.
So if it's safety related, I will use for instance, we just bought a house, so we have an alarm on the house. I always on Shabbat I'll set the alarm even though it's electricity, just because it's it's for safety, that sort of thing. So again, everyone does it case by case.
And you've always been religious since you were young?
Yeah.
Since a kid?
Yeah, since I'm a kid. It's always been the same level, pretty much. And there's people, there are plenty of religious Jewish people who would listen to this and say, oh, he's not religious if he does this. And there are other people who would say, oh, he's crazy religious because he does that. So it just varies.
Wait, judgmental religious people? No.
Yeah.
No, I refuse to believe it.
Believe it or not.
So you don't feel comfortable pitching?
Maybe if Brian read it.
You can.
I got my own stuff to
Jimmy's
read.
a comedy guy.
Well, I work at a comedy network. If you got a comedy show, then pitch it.
Brian said, "Come up with, let's say, what was the scenario? Like, let's say one of the Jokers passes away, and we need to fill the roster."
We had that. Remember with the Gator punishment, we had those conversations.
That's right. There was a conversation. If I died, what would they do?
We literally had. I was on calls with our legal team because we had a punishment for Q led off season 3 in Miami where he had to wrestle a backpack off of an alligator.
Yeah.
And we had conversations with our legal team, and they on the call they were like, okay, so if Q gets eaten by the alligator, and what are we going to do? Like legitimate questions.
The question really is the show could never survive if they die on screen. They die
Like Twilight Zone.
It'd be so much better.
Well, we just wouldn't air that one. We could keep going.
Right.
Yeah. But he was saying we would pitch we would make a play to fill that roster spot
using the remaining 3 guys. So I die.
Well, not you. Well,
let's go with me because it's funnier that way.
Okay.
So I die, and then you're pitching shows that the other 3 guys can do, or to take that time slot.
We're going to come in with.
We're going to be the Joker.
We're going to try to fill your.
Oh, okay, all right.
Void left behind.
Like these are ideas that like I would come with, and I'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm the new Joker. Here are my ideas," because you guys come up with ideas, right?
Right.
It's not all that Casey Jost character, right?
Right.
I can't imagine that.
Okay. All right. So you have
potential Joker.
Bits, challenges.
If he says these and he uses any of them, and you use any of them,
yeah, we might be in some legal problems there.
It'll be all right.
Just throw him a check.
Yeah, like send me a shirt or something.
All right, sounds
like
good.
an old Wiener Circle shirt that didn't sell.
All right, so you can't. How many bits did you come up with?
Oh no, the whole book is. I just made 3. I thought 3 would be good.
This is good because this is what we do with Simi.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I come in and I'm like, all right, guys, we're gonna do a show where each of us has to man like a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
People calling in and like, we're going to say to Sal, like somebody calls in and they're like, hey, I'm really down, man. Life is dark. Like my 6-year-old just died of leukemia. And Sal has to keep saying, I know how you feel. And then come up with then you give him something like, I know how you feel, but something that's not even on par with like,
so it's like, I know I got stuck in traffic for a half hour.
Or like, he's like, he's the woman's like, oh, my kid died of leukemia. And Sal's like, I know exactly how you feel. I was at the Starbucks and some tweens were making fun of my muffin top. You know, like something, like something like that, right?
Well, speaking of somebody who works at a comedy network, you had me at my son died of leukemia.
And, you could just feed them inappropriate stuff, and whoever gets to the person to stay on the line the longest without hanging up, I guess they would win, all right?
Well, you want to take these one by one, Simi, or you?
Oh, I don't know. You can't get better than that.
No, you might be able to.
Well, but you know that's not going to go.
No.
Oh, is that the idea for the whole series? Is it you guys just answering a suicide?
That's just one bit.
But you don't know for sure someone's going to call up and say that about their child.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a couple other problems, so that's one of them.
Yeah.
No, but you don't know that that's going to be someone's going to actually call and say that's why they're calling the hotline.
Right.
It could be something.
It could be something else incredibly depressing.
It could just be like I broke up with my girlfriend. It may not be that heavy.
They're reaching out for help though, and you're trying to one up them with lame ass shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's Brian's scenario. Yeah.
Right.
Sounds like that's where he's going with that.
Okay. All right. Well,
you got the gist of it.
I don't think that one's going to fly.
You don't like that one?
A couple issues.
Yeah, well, one, it's like there's no camera on the suicidal person, so you don't get to see them kill themselves.
If they do. Yeah.
You can do it on Skype.
Might make them smile and say,
do they do Skype suicide hotlines?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I don't know, but I bet you see a lot of hot tattoo chicks if you do.
Or a lot of like older, lonely guys.
Do you have tattoos? You don't have tattoos?
I don't know.
Are you not allowed
to
to?
have tattoos?
I think you're not supposed to. It's not my thing anyway. I have a low tolerance of pain.
In the cemetery, do you have tattoos?
I don't know if I think they, again, loopholes. I think they're.
One of my best friends is Jewish. He said that to me.
Oh, yeah?
Sunday Jeff.
Sunday Jeff. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's not my thing, though.
Yeah. He said if you
But Sunday Jeff, he's not.
He's not as practicing. He doesn't practice like.
He turned shit on right and left on Saturdays.
On Saturday, yeah, he turned to TV and radio. Like
You're not even supposed to drive a car, right?
Yeah, no, we don't drive. Yeah.
How old are the kids?
My kids?
Yeah, pretty young, right?
8, 5, and 2.
So are they still in the phase where they're not rebelling against that yet?
Not yet. No.
But you see that coming.
I think what worries me is, growing up, like we didn't have iPhones. And so, but the notion of So for us, it was a matter of like, you can't pick up the phone. You can't take the phone off the wall and make a call. But now it's like your whole life is your phone. Right. So I think that's going to be it's going to be a hard battle.
They have a lot of friends who also do this on Saturday, or there a lot of friends who don't do this?
Both. They have both. Again, it's really just my 8-year-old, my 5-year-old and 2-year-old are a little too young for it. But.
So when we get into the future where they're like putting chips inside your eyes,
right, and
stuff like that,
it's going to be some issues already. When we deal with it in hotels, because hotel rooms there aren't really keys; it's all key cards, right? So that's all electronic. So like that's a good example of people who are much more religious than I am. They'll just keep it open. They'll just leave and they'll leave the latch open, and just hope for the best. So you got the key is to find out where those people are staying and then take all their shit. But for us, if we're away on the Sabbath, and we'll use the key card, because it's just, again, there's
just no way around it.
Yeah, and other people would say, well, there's a way around it, but we just don't think it's a smart way. Yeah. Right. So it's those kinds of things that I think are going to get harder in the future for sure.
I feel like we're sort of steering away from.
Yeah, let's get back to suicide hotline.
Okay, sorry.
This next one, this would be like a Joker on Joker challenge. Isn't that what they call it?
Yep. Yes, that's when only two of us go.
Right. So two of you are in a say Sal and Joe, right? Mm-hmm. Are in a bathroom stall together, and there's a glory hole. And some guy comes on the other side.
I feel like you're not taking this exercise seriously. And you're the one that came up with this.
All right. And on the other side.
So it's like what's his name? Candid Camera did the naked Candid Camera.
Yeah, this could be Jokers After Dark.
Right. Okay.
Right.
All right.
And they're in a bar where like a glory hole wouldn't be like shocking, right?
Right.
So what you guys have to do is like, remember like when you went to the mall and you're like, which one of us is worse looking or whatever? It would be like that. Like you would undermine each other's blowjob skills.
Wait, we actually got to blow people?
Well, no, it ends when it comes through. Like he's like, I picked that guy. And then it comes through. You can
so we got to make the case for why our glory hole should be the one that's penetrated?
Why, yeah. They're side by side.
I mean, Sim, you want to field this one?
Sure. I didn't think I'd say this, but can we go back to the suicide hotline?
All right, I got one more.
All right.
This is a punishment. You have to go into a grocery store. Like, you know how, like at Costco or something, they give away like a Vienna sausage or whatever, little samples. One of the guys has to set up in a highly ethnic neighborhood. And they're promoting a new bleach called White Power, and they have to, and they have to try to get someone to buy it.
So you want to? So what is the idea that you're trying to do here, Brian? Are you trying to make it so you would never pitch Simi a game? Like how is this making Simi eager to work with you?
Well, you would text Simi later on, and you'd be like, "Oh, he was just kidding around." Those weren't real ideas.
So you got that. He's got Hitler.
He's got anti-Semitic stuff. At least mine's just
no, it's not.
That third one sounds like the kind of stuff we've actually done on the show.
White power? Well, in a black neighborhood?
Well, maybe not quite that.
You could
far.
say that to a white person to see how they react.
But you guys sometimes push the line a little bit. Maybe not to that level.
All right, so
he wants to squash it.
I said when I heard that right there, I was just like, that to me sounds like it would be a gag, because it's it brings up all the uncomfortableness of the guys having to kind of pretend they don't understand the connotation of the brand name. And having to play the oblivious Joker.
Well, how about this? Q, it takes place in Staten Island. Now, what do you think?
Okay, that's good.
Sounding better?
I mean, I don't even think anyone would look sideways.
No, yeah, Staten Island might not even notice.
They'd be like, cool, I'll take some.
So, all right, so you think that we can get that White Power bleach through?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I did, just to be clear.
Not even for Jokers After Dark.
I think it's right. Of the three, it was the one that but it still felt a little far away, a little off brand.
I had an alternate in Practical Coroners.
Okay, what do you
pretend you're a coroner, and you have when you have students around,
right?
And the guys tell you to say stuff to the corpse, or you claim the corpse is your mom, the cadaver.
Could we get away with a fake corpse underneath a thing, or do you have to see the corpse?
You would want to see a little bit of it, because they're not going to have a sheet on it.
They're not going to let show a corpse.
Even let's say, like a Walking Dead looking corpse. They look good.
Yeah, but then What do you mean? Oh, like a
makeup.
Yeah, just makeup.
Tom
Oh,
Savini.
I don't know, Sim. Could we do that?
Maybe. So how would it play out exactly?
So we're teaching a course. We're the professors in an autopsy course.
Yeah, like say like
at Quantico.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now you're down in FBI headquarters. I mean, I fought like a local.
All right, so
maybe.
CSI has College of Staten Island has a mortician's course, and then we have a fake dead body set up, or even better, one of the jokers is the body on the table. Shenanigans ensue.
Right.
Could we get away with that?
Yeah, I could see. I mean, it's a little like we did a CPR bit, right? A few years ago. It's a little more morbid, but you could probably do something in a coroner's office. I don't know about the Joker being the corpse, because that's more of like jump out and yell boo. It doesn't seem like our show so much, right?
You see what I deal with? Mm-hmm. This is what he does with all these jokes.
Sorry, you know what? Funny. Let's just do it, kid.
I gave you 4 solid fucking bits.
All right. What do you got?
Forget it. Maybe I'll just stay on Comic Book Men. Fuck it.
All right, so you got to hit me up with something. Don't worry about the fact that I'm Jewish.
All right, no, it's not bad in that way, but it does now. You're sound like you're hard to please.
Oh yeah, because I didn't say yes to the Suicide Hotline comedy hour.
Well,
that makes me tough.
This idea spun out of Brian asking me to come up with Impractical Joker scenarios.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to come up with something where, like, you guys were given high colonics, but I couldn't figure it out.
Right.
And then something else, I had this other idea of a show based kind of like Impractical Jokers, but each week it's a different contestant pool. Mm-hmm. And the challenges are always the same, but there's just twists on them. And it could be produced by the Jokers. It could be like from, Impractical Jokers, Brewster's show. And I'm taking the name from an old bit we did on Tell 'em Steve Dave called Are You Worse Than Hitler?
Okay.
So it would be a challenge-based game show where a pool of 5 new players every week are given a series of 4 tasks to complete until 4 players are eliminated and 1 person remains to become, the champion of that episode.
Does that person have to prove that they're worse than Hitler?
These are
that's
the
a tall fucking order.
Well, it's a name only.
Right.
We're just using the title because you've heard that phrase. Are you worse than Hitler?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the phrase.
Hitler, I've heard of this guy.
Does it have anything to do with what the show is, though?
Well, we're going into it here.
Sure.
If the producers, which be you,
sure,
when you take this on, feel the show works better if everyone but the contestants are in on the joke, I'm open to that too. The contestants.
I'm glad that you're flexible.
The contestants.
6 months from now, I see Walt screaming in a phone. Poor Simmy.
Why isn't there a swastika behind?
It's going to be a map of New Jersey behind me or nothing.
You know what I'm saying? Like the contestants think they're going out in the real world and trolling, like what the guys do.
Yeah, but it's really reverse.
But it's reversed, so they're going out and but everybody's in on the joke. You just get higher actors.
We have a show that's a lot like that, actually, on True.
I like
Famous,
this,
right?
Fameless.
Fameless.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now you're just stealing ideas. And
wait a minute. I don't know if Fameless has done this one yet. So every week these
Does Fameless mention Hitler?
4 challenges.
They work in a hot dog joint in Chicago called the Winter Circle.
And they escalate. Challenge 1 would be called the Are You Worse Than Bernie Madoff challenge.
Okay.
Where and every week that challenge is based on scamming. Mm-hmm. So the first week it could be you had to scam a retirement village. You had to go door to door and use your skills in scamming them, and whoever scams the least gets eliminated.
Okay.
And the old people that they're scamming are real people?
It could be. It could be.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So this is where you're flexible. The old people could be in on it,
or we could go cold and you just really go into a retirement community and see which out
and
of
try to take advantage of seniors.
You give them the money back at the end.
That's kind of you.
And they're diggity.
It's all for a game, though. And after they've given over, let's say, their life savings, you could be like, thank God. You help them out. You're like, don't be so gullible.
Yeah, like, what the fuck's the matter with you, asshole?
So that's the Bernie Madoff challenge. That's challenge 1. Mm-hmm. We eliminate the person who doesn't get the most. Whoever gets the least amount of scamming money is eliminated. Right. And then there were 4 standing. And then we go into Are You Worse Than Jared from Subway challenge. What's that? Oh, yeah. Are you worse?
I mean, I hope not.
Are you worse than Jared from Subway Challenge? Every week, this challenge is child predator themed.
Sure.
So let's say on the premiere episode, we get one contestant where all the contestants have to go into a park or playground dressed oddly, quote unquote, where they have thick Coke bottle glasses, dirty stained T-shirts, super tight sweatpants, and they must ask and receive permission from parents to take photos of his or her child on the playground.
You seem awfully familiar with describing what this person looks like.
Well, he picked me up to come here today.
Contestant who gets the least amount of photos is eliminated. And then number 3.
What a loser. Suddenly my ideas seem good.
Yeah. Challenge, and then go to the third challenge.
Brian, you got anything else on it?
Are you worse than Osama bin Laden challenge? Every week, this challenge is terror sympathizer themed.
Okay.
Week 1, on the premiere episode, you always have to change the challenge, but it'll always be this theme. So every week you know what the themes are. Contestants must go door to door or go to a university dressed in Middle Eastern attire and ask for donations for Americans for ISIS Foundation. Whoever gets the least amount of donations is eliminated.
So whoever wins the game, at the end of the episode, gets sent away to a supermax prison. Is that the idea?
No, none of these people. I mean, these are all done.
Right.
It's tastefully
done.
This
is like who will go. This is a mirror turned on society. Sometimes we see the people who are good, and then we see sometimes people who will donate or who will. How far will they go to win the prize money at the end?
I'm sure they'll sign a release.
Everyone's face is blurred in every episode.
So then there are 2 standing. So this is the final challenge, which we get to. Always the final challenge is "Are you worse than Hitler?" challenge.
Sure.
And the final challenge is always Nazi based.
You can't hear that enough in a pitch.
Always.
No, not just in the pilot. Every episode, the final one is Nazi based. You still with me?
Is that how you pitch Impractical Jokers?
There was a great Hitler bit in Impractical Jokers.
Was it?
One of my favorite ones ever. When you guys were acting as caricature artists, and there were people sitting on the other side. And
Hitler eating a banana.
It was Hitler eating a banana. I think it was Joe sitting there drawing a picture of a girl, and then had to show it to her, and it was Hitler eating a banana.
But do you remember the network notes on that? Wait, were you
before
on?
My time. No, it was before my time.
The note on that was we can't say Hitler. It wasn't Hitler eating a banana. It was a dictator eating a banana.
Oh, interesting.
Because the network didn't want us to say Hitler.
It was one of those other dictators with a small mustache.
Yeah.
So you got to think of an entirely new name for your fucking show.
No, I don't think this could ever. Don't you think that if this was a web-based series, it would be amazing? Like it would be the talk for like a month or 2.
Yeah, I can't see a single flaw with this idea. I think it's perfect. Let's just go right, put it right on TV.
No. You're saying do a web series because you can do anything you want.
Yeah, but I think it would set the internet ablaze.
True is
if you had people who were really these 5 contestants were really willing to go and say these things, and if they weren't in on the joke, how far are they willing to go to win? How worse are they willing to be to get the prize money?
How much is the prize money that you got?
$100,000
per episode.
Per episode.
Mm-hmm. That's easy, right?
Well,
Drew's too cowardly to take on this idea.
Yeah, I think
that's for sure.
But just like the Jokers, you know how they are fed lines. Let's say in the Nazi-based challenge,
sure,
you have to go to you set up a family, all actors, kids, and you have to. The 2 remaining contestants are vying for this is the Nazi themed challenge. You have to go in maybe dressed as a Nazi party clown,
right?
And you have
like Jerry Lewis in that movie.
Well,
Tears for a Clown.
No, you just you're definitely, there's no doubt about it. You walk into the house and
you go step into the house.
You got your clown makeup on. Maybe you got some swastikas
around your eyes.
But who's going to do this? Like
you get 5 desperate people who want to be on TV who are willing to do it for the prize money they think is there.
I agree.
So there's no prize money?
But you don't think this would come out like bum fights where people were like, "Oh,
how big was bum fights for like a month?"
Yeah, but then everybody hated everybody to do with bum fights. Like it's like deplorable. Like people were just like, "Fuck those guys."
Like what about? I don't know.
We tried to watch bum fights and we couldn't even get through it.
Where was bum fights?
Oh, you don't remember bum fights?
No. That was like early 2000s.
No, I think it was late. Yeah, you're probably late.
Bum
90s.
fights was
you could order a DVD of people who would pay bums to fight each other.
They would just go in alleyways.
It was like cockfighting, but with just with bums.
Yeah,
they would videotape and then sell a DVD.
Oh god!
And then
it wasn't. Mine wasn't even on DVD. It was a tape.
Yeah, and they had
it was probably late 90s.
Steve Irwin was still alive, and they had the Bum Hunter.
Oh, okay. He wasn't involved.
No. But like,
that'd be amazing.
That would be fucking crazy. In between the bum cockfights, they would have this guy called the Bum Hunter who dressed like Steve Irwin. You don't remember this?
No,
he dressed like Steve Irwin and he put on a fake Australian accent.
The Bum Hunter sounds like a porn.
And he would go into abandoned buildings and alleyways.
Yeah.
And bums would be sleeping. Bums.
Hobos.
Homeless people would be sleeping, and suddenly they'd flick on that light. And it was all real.
Yeah.
And you would just see the bums go, like they would be terrified. And then this guy would leap on them.
Yeah.
And talk
like
about them like they were crocodiles and tie them up. Like tie their hands behind their fucking arms.
They probably thought they were going to be killed or like.
I mean, it was. And like almost to the bum. They would just get submissive and just stop fighting. And then the guy would stand there after they would trussed up and be like, now look here, we got this bum. And they would make up a fake history of the bum. And then they would just cut to a bum cockfight.
Oh my God, it's got to be on YouTube, right? I got to check
it out. Yeah. It made millions. Hold on, let me see.
How much did it make?
Oh, so much money.
Well, how come? Well, that's what I'm saying. So you don't think this could set the...
But I think they lost it all in lawsuits.
Lawsuits? How? If it's all actors and we get only the 5 contestants.
Because it's assault.
We're showing them, we're showing them how soulless they are and how, and teaching lessons like, man, don't always just look for money and fame.
Seems a little heavy for us.
Push. Don't sell your soul or sell your, what's it called? Your ethos. Your morals. Just for a quick buck,
Yeah, but don't you think that Nazi imagery is going to...
But that's why you can't call it Are You Worse Than Hitler then. And that is a phrase that's bandied about a lot. It also says, like I said when I first said it, I mean, you really shouldn't be using that phrase because there's nothing worse than Hitler. So let's take it out of the lexicon using this game show.
Well, it should be like Tell 'em Steve Dave's first original web series, right?
I don't know.
Setting the bar pretty high.
Yeah. Now you're making...
The first episode, we can get Ming, Frank.
Get him.
Pussy and get him.
But if Ming starts acting in this manner, you're not going to get another season of Comic Book Men.
That could ultimately be.
Yeah, but if we get if we get Bum Hunter money for that month, we could retire on it.
Yeah, that's Bum Hunter fuck you money.
I know.
I don't know, but why is it so horrible though? If the only people who are in on it are the contestants though, and it's almost like a social commentary though.
Because you're having a children's party with a Nazi clown.
But everybody's in on it though, except the contestants. So you're giving them they have to spew this vitriol, this horrible vitriol as the Nazi clown, and they're like, are they torn? Are they going to do it? Are they just like you guys? Like, are you going to say this horrible thing? It's not as bad as this, but are they willing to say, like, they have index cards, they don't know what they are, and they're the most like racist, ugly things ever,
right? And
they have to say it in the course of their clown act, and if they can't do it, if they blink and they're like, I can't do it, then they lose.
And if they do it, then they win, and then they find out that it was all...
But it was like well, it really shows they win, but they lose because the family was all in on it anyway. They were actors paid to do it.
But is the reveal like a laughing good time?
To who?
To anybody.
Well, like, isn't uncomfortable comedy a la The Office, a la isn't it all like watching them squirm and be like, oh my God, can I say these things? Can I do this?
But yeah, The Office is a little different because it was scripted. I feel like if Michael Scott walked in a Hitler costume, at least it was a writer who came up with it. It wasn't an actual person walking into like a nursing home and stealing money from them.
I feel
I'll do it for the possibility of $100,000.
Dude, I feel like Funerals with a Z may be our last shot. Oh my God. We've got one more. We were refining it the other day.
I knew I shouldn't have pitched it.
No, I think
it was going to be a tough room.
It's a tough room.
I know funny and holy shit.
But I mean, it's all about it's all about also like showing people like,
yeah,
don't use these phrases because
you might win $100,000 if you do.
That's right. I didn't even think about that. You're literally giving $100,000
to the worst piece of shit
to
on the
whoever's
show.
willing to be the most like Hitler.
Yeah, but you know that. But you also got to sympathize with them, though. You wanted the audience to be
sympathizers.
No, because they know they're not. You know they're not Nazi sympathizers. You know they're not terrorist sympathizers. You know they're not child predators.
They just have it in them.
They're thrown into the mix, and they're like, "Holy shit, I got to do this, or I don't win. What am I willing to do to win this? Am I willing to sell out on everything I believe in, or not?"
See, all right, now that is a great log line, right? For a show.
Yeah, if you strip everything else away, yeah.
It just feels like
every other detail.
It feels like the examples that you've come up with are not the most saleable, but the idea is sellable.
Look at you.
Of like, I know, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So,
no.
Like that log line's a good one of like, what are people willing to sell out? What ideals they're willing to sell out for money? But I just think there's probably better examples than.
You don't think that like having to like try to be like the reactions are hysterical?
Well, they're not, because you're saying that they're faked.
Well, we can go with people who are unaware, but I think then you're really
good. So you could send somebody as Hitler going into an actual Jewish family and seeing how that works. Is that the idea?
Get that one. You can never have someone call.
Don't be insensitive, Simi.
That's unrealistic.
I don't know what I was thinking, guys. Sorry.
I don't know if I don't. That one, the clown one, has to be set up where only the contestants are oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah.
But then,
and it's a mirror. Like you shine. You're like, oh, I won.
I haven't mentioned you yet.
At what cost did I win?
So you have to live with yourself and your $100,000 in cash.
But everyone's like, what a piece of shit. He's like, at least I got $100,000 after taxes.
Let's make it something more digestible.
It's like 10 million.
Let's make it 10,000. That's not a lot.
Yeah. I thought you were going to adjust the creative.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I don't want to be a monster. Forget what I said before.
Monster.
Make the money last.
But even like you don't think I know like terrorism is a important issue.
It's in right now.
But like if you go up and you don't think like going up to being like, hey, I'm trying to get donations for America's for ISIS,
right?
And you have to like sell it and be like, can I get $1? Can I get something?
Yeah, but you're only going to get one reaction.
The reactions are going to be great. That's the humor. That's where you're like, are you kidding me?
No, I don't know. You're going to get people who just kind of look horrified and say, no, thanks, I'm not interested in walking away. I feel like that's the thing with Jokers is that it's more. I think the absurdity is what makes Joker. You have. I don't know if it's that heavy. I just kind of feel like
someone soliciting for ISIS takes a real risk of like getting beaten.
Yes, that too. Right.
Well, then everybody in the park is in on it then, and they have to they have to
chase the predator through the park. They're like, get him! That'd be amazing. I'd watch that. I'd watch it.
All right.
Well, what about this? Funerals with a Z. This is our last shot, man.
Sim, do you take pictures of the network or no?
Yeah, I mean, not like this, but yeah.
So I didn't even know that about you. I didn't know you took pictures.
Yeah.
So you like somebody's agent will set up a meeting with True.
Yeah.
And why did they pick you to go into? Because it's not just you.
Right.
There's a team. So which ones get assigned?
So it depends on. So often they go through the vice president, the VPs. So I'm an executive producer. So Angel, for instance, is my boss. Right. And she's a VP. So she has, she's worked with the VP level. Usually they work more with the managers and the agents. So they depending on who those agents and managers have a relationship with, I'll send it to different people. Sometimes a pitch will come in through Marissa and she'll just say, oh, I think Simi would be good to take this, or I think someone else would be good to take this. Yeah.
So funerals with a Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds like it's right.
We were trying to refine it yesterday. We were sitting around talking. Walt says, you go out on your like man on the street type interview and you're like, hey, did you hear Vanilla Ice died? And then you get that person's reaction.
And you tell them, like, we're getting some sound bites for tonight's news.
Okay.
I'm with the such and such news. We're getting some sound bites, man on the street reactions to the news today. They're like, oh, I didn't hear it. Well,
it's a death every week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe a couple deaths a show. It couldn't.
It's not just one.
One couldn't carry.
These are just like Danny. I know you guys probably want to move away from some of these D-list guys, but or C-list. I shouldn't say D. That's. I'm
sorry, Vanilla Ice. I apologize, Robert Van Winkle.
People who are instantly recognizable to the public, so they will have a reaction like Bonaducci or
Tone Loc was a backup.
Yeah.
If you just say, hey, did you hear the news today? He passed away. Can we get your feelings on this? Because people did it with Bowie. He would be too big for this, though.
Yeah.
And
it would be, you don't want universally loved.
Yeah, you want to get a chance of them saying like, well,
who gives a fuck?
I didn't like him, and he was a clown, or he was a worst thing about rap music ever, or whatever. And then you have around the corner,
Vanilla Ice pops out.
Like, why are you dissing me like that? And then they got to backtrack, and will they backtrack? And by the end of the segment, will they be like, I actually did. I like you. I'm going to go pick up your album this week or something.
Yeah, and it's like, word to your mother.
It's easy to book. You definitely get those. I think Vanilla Ice might be free.
Well, I mean, you could just take all the people that are on your other shows, like World's Craziest or World's Wildest, this or that.
Right?
We don't do it anymore.
Like
that's
Tanya
what I was
Harding.
going to say. We used to have Danny Bonaducci on the show. I feel like we're moving away from all that. Only A-list celebrities.
You must still have Tanya Harding's phone number, though. Right? You can call her.
And then like you bookend it with like celebrity announcements like that, and you kind of like get it's kind of gotcha for the pedestrian. You're like, oh, you are alive. You also get that moment where they thought a dead person just popped up that they thought was dead for a few seconds. I don't know if the reaction is going to be that shocking.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You guys really believe in this one?
We do. We were so much so we were going to shoot some test footage yesterday using me, but we were afraid no one would know me by name. They would be like, "Did you hear Brian Johnson died?" Like, who's that? So then we were like, "Well, should we just go to people that definitely know me 100%?"
Go to your family
members. Your parents,
like Tom from Reedy's. Like we're gonna be like, "Hey, Brian died," and then see what he says. Then I'd pop out. Thank you.
You think he's gonna badmouth you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's nobody gonna badmouth him.
What if?
I don't. It's like
so we don't have the test footage. I'm sorry.
Wait a second. What if you looked up shit that people said on Twitter about famous people? And then,
but for the most part,
that was called Haters, wasn't there? I'm almost positive there was a show called Haters.
But you're not getting people are so much more unlikely to talk bad about the dead. That's why if you can get that one person to be like, who's kind of in the moment and is like, I couldn't stand them.
The thing is, I feel like the reactions you're going to get are mostly people just being like, "Oh, that's so sad," And I don't know if that
Tone Loc died.
TV.
Well, that's why we go with the real ones in the middle of the show. Then, Tell them about the real people who write in who want to stage a funerals on someone they know.
Funerals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we were talking about that show Cheaters.
Yeah, you ever seen the show Cheaters?
No.
You
never saw?
I don't think so.
You never saw that footage where he got stabbed and he fell off the boat?
It's
the best ever.
If you thought your significant other was cheating on you, you could hire this TV show to set up cams and to follow them around and expose, and you could expose them on camera.
Okay.
And you would have the host then being like, "Why'd you do this? He's all upset. Why you do?" Or she's all upset, and you'd have testimonials in between the footage of I'm so broken up about this. I can't believe she did this to me or he did this to me.
How'd they get people to sign for that? They must have tricked them into signing somehow.
Well, sometimes they blur out the face of the cheater, obviously.
Right.
They wouldn't sign off. But on funerals, though, let's say your boss is treating you like a dick. Obviously not like this.
Present company excluded. Yeah.
They won't put a map of Staten Island.
Say your boss, so you feel like your work is not being appreciated at the office. You set up a funeral. Set up, and you have.
This isn't what you pitched to me, though.
I don't want to, because I can tell, because this one's a little bit more palatable than if I said family.
Oh, you're trying to water it down? Yeah.
Oh, this is the watered down version. Oh, it's good to know. I'm glad you're holding back.
And you go
He's
in.
trying to sell it.
I know. No, I hate for you to say something offensive.
You tell the coworkers and the boss. You have someone go in, like somebody, a fake cop, and be like, "Hey, he was on his way to work today. I just want to let everyone know. Bill passed away on the way into work today." Just look at his face.
He's like, so far so good. Bill's dead.
Keep talking.
It's not a no yet.
Bill
Right?
passed away on the way to work today, and just want to let everyone know. And then
what happens? And then they have a memorial
Bill
service.
gets to hear. There's been fake cameras set up beforehand, and Bill gets to hear the aftermath of how they really felt about him. Did they
Should Bill go back to work ever again? Or like, oh, fucking thank Christ.
And maybe he gets what he's looking for, and that like he felt unappreciated, but then he sees all the love and all the appreciation that they really did have.
Do you think seeing people like actively mourning would make really like fun television?
Well, just for a little bit. It's not like you go through the whole funeral
It's
service,
definitely
right?
not a comedy.
Right. Okay.
Just so you know.
Is there a Z in it?
Yeah, funeral. Yeah,
it's not a comedy?
You want to get the young graphic. You want to get the young demographic.
Okay, got it. That's how
you just do funerals. It might just get, you might be getting only the geriatric crowd.
Sure.
That might not know what it is, but you want that Z on the end so you get the young.
No, all the kids will
Yeah,
watch
we
it.
don't want the old people. Look, put a hashtag somewhere.
Hashtag funerals.
And then you reveal, though, he comes out and he's just like, and he says, like, I've been feeling down. I've been feeling like my work wasn't appreciated.
I call the suicide hotline.
And,
Tried to get a blowjob in a glory hole.
It's a mending thing. Now, it could go bad, too. They could be like, the aftermath, they could be like,
this is really weird that you did that.
We can replace Bill. He sucked at his job or whatever.
So it's not going to the actual funeral.
No.
You don't have, okay.
There's no burial.
The cop is barely done with the announcement before they have the temp in there. And Bill's like, what the fuck?
HR's already like closing the case on his file.
Originally, you pitched it as like it was a dad who like the cop was telling his wife and kids like, oh, your dad died. On his way home from work, I guess it would be. and then,
That's a little too traumatic, though. The shock of seeing him come back, because he's going to come back and reveal himself.
Right.
It would be too traumatic for a family member, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not like, I mean, you're not talking
boss,
about.
Like, this would be, like, the boss maybe would be like, oh, I didn't know you felt that way. Maybe there'd be a great hug at the end. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to treat you like that. I'm not going to ever let you ever think ever again that you're not a vital cog in this machine.
Yeah.
So the idea is
this fake death has really put things in perspective.
Sometimes all it takes is faking your own death.
Oh, that's a great tagline. Funerals. Sometimes all it takes is, see, that's why we want you on this.
Yeah. I thought of that one a long time ago, though. We just dusted that one off because we knew you were coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Nobody had bitten.
It sounds like two different ideas, though. Like the celebrity one and this.
Yeah, because the celebrity one, you just want that reaction. Because it's cheap too. Mm-hmm. You're just walking up to people on the street.
Yeah, it's definitely cheap.
Well, yeah, because it was a show. It was called Hater.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted a month. Mm-hmm. Mario Lopez hosted the reality show that pairs famous people with their biggest anti-fans. Celebrities are given the chance to confront civilians who hate them and try to convince haters that their animosity is misdirected. Can you imagine being that? And these are not small names. Kim Kardashian, Snooki.
Why do you think it failed?
The
premise sounds strong.
Was it Hater with a Z?
No, it was H8R. For
That's
Hater.
Probably why, because it was too confusing.
Right. Yeah, people are like, what is this?
I thought it was a typo.
It's not like Funerals with a Z, which I know exactly what's going on. I never saw. I remember seeing the promos for it, but I never saw an episode.
To me, that sounds like a real cheap show that could be on like some real small cable channel.
Yeah. Will the celebrities be able to win over the people who dislike them?
The budget, to get a Kardashian's got to be high.
Yeah. Well, now, but back then probably it was 2011.
Yeah, we had the Funerals was an idea of a long time ago.
I think it's the one that could work. Simi, could we get like $10,000 from the network to shoot like a tape
sizzle
on it?
reel?
Yeah.
Sizzle?
Oh, for that idea?
For funerals?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, man, they're tough.
This is a tough audience, man.
We have not been able to get another show on the air.
You fucking put Joker's Wild on and Funerals with a Z.
Hey, man, Joker's Wild is fucking good, bro.
Were you in charge of that?
Yeah, that was my show too.
Yeah?
Yeah, that one had some bumps.
What were the bumps in Joker's Wild? Why do you think it didn't succeed?
I don't know. Q, you want to take this one? Why do you think Joker's Wild didn't succeed?
I think Joker's Wild didn't succeed for two reasons. One, it wasn't the best show that we could make. Mm-hmm. We were under the gun. We were under production. We were trying to do two shows at once and figure out the live show. And the sketches that we made were funny, but they could have been produced a little bit better. They don't look that great. It wasn't the best thing in the show. But more than that, people are fucking dopes.
Well, I think people expect and like you in a certain role.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Once you step outside that.
Right, because it didn't look bad. It didn't look horrible, and it was funny. I still like a lot of things. And like some of the bits that aired on that show, we've shown in the live show, and they kill. They kill every time. But we were getting comments like, this is scripted. Or wait, this seems fake to me.
Right.
Like people didn't get that it was scripted. They thought it was like we were trying to get one over on them, that it wasn't scripted.
A lot of people aren't that bright.
A lot of people aren't that bright. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people tuned in because the bar is set so high for Jokers right now, but in a different way. So I feel like even if it's good, if it's a different show, people aren't going to give it the same shot, you know? And
ratings were pretty good though.
They were.
Why did it get renewed? Because it still had pretty fucking high ratings. I'm glad it didn't because it was just too much work. But
I to be honest, I don't remember at this point. I don't remember the numbers being that great. I think they were pretty good, but they weren't as high as Jokers for sure.
No, they were getting like 0.8, 0.8.
I don't even remember.
They were doing pretty good.
I don't know. I mean, it was that I can't answer. I don't remember exactly why it didn't get picked up. But
we didn't have a lot of fights on that, did we?
No, not too many.
I don't remember any fights on Joker's Wild.
No, I think we. I think we saved it all for Staten Island Maps.
Did you care, Q, when it got canceled? Or
no, I was happy. I was happy with it. It was too much work, not enough pay, and it was doubled down on I was not upset when it went away.
I'm not even seeing it on Wikipedia. That's weird.
But people like it. It just aired in the UK, and we got some very nice email about it.
Yeah, you guys are multinational, we hear.
What's that, true?
Jokers, yeah.
Yeah, these guys are big in a lot of countries, right?
India, I hear. India.
I got a lot of messages today. I have people asking when you guys are coming to India. And
we opened up Twitter to fans, said Simi was going to be on, see if there was any questions. Simi, were there any questions that seemed good?
There were a lot of questions about, what's my favorite punishment challenge we've done? What are the guys like in real life? That sort of, that kind of fare. I don't know. A few people asked, which is the real Q? Is he the one on Tell 'em Steve Dave, or is he the one on Jokers because he seems different?
Just a little.
You couldn't answer that, right? You haven't listened to Tell 'em Steve Dave.
I haven't listened enough. I mean, but to me, I mean, my sense from what I've heard is, you're pretty. I feel like you're yourself on both shows. It's not like you're putting on an act in either one, right?
Well, on.
I saw him dancing. On
Jokers?
Yeah, the only thing that was missing was an organ grinder.
Was I being told to dance?
Was this I don't know if it's aired yet. The one where you're wearing the bells on the jacket in the grocery store.
Oh, that's a funny one.
We started dancing in that one, but
that was just to make Sal laugh, though.
Right.
So that's in. Probably I don't know. Probably Tell 'em Steve Dave, but we've in the later years of Tell 'em Steve Dave had started taking on characters a little bit on the show, a little bit mainly to piss off our own audience, right. Which doesn't make a ton of sense when you think about it. The whole tax thing only kept going on because people reacted so negatively to it. So that's why I would talk about it all the fucking time. There's also a more recent one the
Hillary thing.
Well, some of your movies.
That never got as big as the tax thing.
It's the Hillary thing kind of. The Hillary thing fizzled because the payoff never came, because the payoff was she was supposed to be on Jokers. You remember that?
Oh, what Hillary Clinton?
Yeah. And then that just went away.
Oh, we were talking about maybe doing some sort of a promo for the network.
Yeah. And but it never came. So that joke died on the vine.
So maybe Brian being against politically correct culture. Like
well, unfortunately, that's Brian. This is Brian. But you've said certain things on here, and then
that were said in just to play up a character.
Yeah. Your Ghostbusters review.
No, I actually, that was
here
a
we
great
go.
Movie. You haven't seen the movie. When you see it, then we can talk.
Okay. Did you see Ghostbusters?
I did not. No.
Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying. I've seen us do things on here. Well, the tax thing definitely went on way long. The only reason the Colonel thing is still going is because that asshole wrote that letter saying he didn't like the Colonel thing. Get him for a while. Was only brought on to troll and annoy people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I was more out of spite. I would then get him on more than I thought he needed to be on. But then I actually was like,
sure,
he's literally an oil well.
Yes,
and he will spit black gold constantly.
Yeah,
if you just strike at the right spot in his body. You will
orgasm fucking black gold.
Yeah.
Do you disagree with that, Brian? That we've taken on certain stances just to annoy people who have voiced dissenting opinions?
Maybe at times, like say certain things that will get a rise out of people, but for me, it's more like I'll say stuff that I know is offensive on purpose,
right?
Oh, then you're definitely then you're doing it. Then
pushing buttons.
You're just doing it just because you know it's going to get a reaction.
Sometimes, but generally not. I'd say. Like the tax thing with you is really the only thing that, or you being like the Lothario.
Well, that was something, that I from day one was like, let's just not say that,
or that you don't like fat chicks.
Again, I never said that. The tax thing was definitely the longest thing that I kept going just to annoy people in the audience. I don't know.
Actually, let me rephrase that. Sometimes I won't cut out offensive stuff because I know.
Because it'll bother people.
Yeah. Very rarely do I cut anything out. We keeps it reals with a Z.
So, all right. So, Simeon, no questions came through that you thought were worth answering.
I could certainly answer some. I mean, there were a lot of questions about the live event that we got coming up there. Things like that. Things that were specific about the show.
Right. Did we even announce that yet?
Yeah, we announced that. We announced that it's happening. We didn't announce a lot of details about it, but we announced Nitro Circus November 3rd, Prudential Center.
We're having a live event.
Yep. Live season finale.
In Jersey.
At the Rock.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, there were, again, a lot of questions. A lot of people always want to know what you guys are like, you guys meaning the Jokers, are like in real life versus on TV. But it's
pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
Joe's a little more business-like behind the scenes.
I'd say so.
I think that would be the one that would surprise people. Because I say it all the time. I'm like, he runs the show.
Yeah, he's much more. He has that serious business side of him for sure.
Yeah.
I guess you know what? That's interesting. I feel like he's the one that when the cameras start rolling, he's a little different in that sense that he could be buttoned up. But it's not bad,
No, not in any way, shape. I think without Joe steering the ship like he does, we would be in rough shape.
Yeah. The story I was telling.
Somebody's phone is causing a.
Was that this?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's right.
I mean, the story I always tell is my first
whole episode.
No, it just started for some reason.
Okay. The story I always tell is the first day that I worked on Jokers. We were shooting a special where you guys were on a rooftop. It was one of those episodes where you guys are just shooting the shit and tossing the clips.
Right.
And I got there and I saw you guys doing it. And we had about like 5 minutes of you guys going back and forth. And then I turned to Pete McPartland, the showrunner, and I was like, all right, I think we got enough. And he's like, we haven't started rolling yet. That's just them. They're just hanging out. And I was like, it's the show.
That's great.
It's the, I know you guys are exactly very, very similar on screen and off.
Are you open to taking pitches from the Tell 'em Steve Dave crew in the future, Simi?
Sure,
absolutely. Or do you
if this was a preview of what's to come?
Or do you feel like these ideas,
Well, let's say we took it seriously.
Or do you feel that these ideas have offed any interest that you have from Tell 'em Steve Dave Productions in the future?
I'd be happy and honored to take a pitch. These ones feel a little off for True TV, but
right.
But yeah, I would say, my door's always open, guys.
So when we go into pitch Dyslexia.
Dyslexia, the game show.
A couple people tweeted about that.
We're gonna have a big roundabout a Dyslexia game, like a championship amongst the players in our universe, the characters, not characters, but the people who make up the Tell 'em Steve Dave family. And can I send you the file then?
Sure.
I've got such great gameplay and such like.
But what are you talking about? It's the most frustrating game ever made.
No, but
He's refined it.
Oh, really?
I've fine tuned it.
Why not 1 True 3?
I feel like
it's a fucking great. That's a legitimate game show. All right, I don't want to take away your thing.
But
Sorry.
there's so much new twists and turns. It's not just the 2 rounds that we had before. Now there's truly strategy.
Simi, what's the opposite of a horse?
The opposite of a horse?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's hard.
Take a stab. There's no wrong answer. There's no right answer.
What's the opposite? The opposite of a horse?
Yeah.
My brain's hurting with that one.
Well, I mean, immediately this is too. It's
out of context.
It's out of context.
I guess I go to zebra, but it's not.
Okay. Not a car?
So you don't go to car?
Yeah.
You wouldn't see a car. If you're playing a game, like, let's say I give you this. Okay.
You weren't talking about within the animal family. You just mean in general.
Oh, no. In general, but you have to figure out.
Okay, then a car is a fair answer.
What if I said this? Bread stick.
That was like Awakenings.
Caught the ball.
If I said bread, what's the opposite of bread? And what's the opposite of stick? What's the opposite of bread?
Right, that look on your face.
Tell you also, it's in the food family.
Oh, what's the opposite of bread? And it's
the category is food.
Okay. What's the opposite of bread? Meat? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Don't mistake this chemistry for me liking the idea. Go ahead.
But you're right.
I got very excited.
So you got the first one.
You got the first one.
Good.
So we know it's in
bread
the food
and meat.
So bread, stick, the opposite is meat. What's the opposite of a stick?
Pie? Oh, loaf?
No. Meatloaf?
Jesus.
Oh, that would have worked.
Yeah, meatloaf.
Meatball.
Jesus?
A stick and a ball.
Oh. Is a ball the opposite of a stick?
That's the big question.
Oh, yes, Simi. Yes, it is. If you don't think so, you're an asshole.
I think the fundamental flaw is you don't know what the word opposite means.
You cannot judge a game of this. I'm telling you.
Sure I can.
You need to see the file. You need to listen to the whole game.
Okay.
Played with all its nuances and the strategic elements. And I have a set design where the two players especially built chair where they're back to back when they're giving these clues. A chair where they're back to back and they have to speak to each other.
You should have led with
backwards.
that.
The set would be amazing.
Again, can we go back to the suicide hotline comedy hour?
Wow, it's tough to please, huh?
Yeah,
it's not that easy.
I'm telling you,
most people just open the gates for these ideas.
Yeah.
Bring them right through.
Tell them, Steve Dave, we don't have a producer squashing all this fucking genius that flows like what's it called when it flows? Like
water,
not water, but like it's like stream of consciousness.
Right.
Yeah. That's what Tell 'em Steve Dave is.
No filter.
We don't have to abide by sponsors or yes, we do.
but we don't.
You have to, but you don't.
Got FanDuel again this week. Do you like football?
Well, I do like football.
Oh yeah, who's your team?
I'm a Jets fan. Baseball is my.
What about Fitzpatrick? Should he sit?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm a little more of a bandwagon football fan. Baseball is my sport. I'm a big Mets fan. Well,
then you know about FanDuel because fantasy baseball is just as big as football, right?
Yeah.
Are you into that?
I'm into fantasy baseball. I don't do the daily leagues like FanDuel and stuff like that, but I do a rotisserie fantasy baseball league. I did win. Yeah.
All right. So, but football and FanDuel, that's what we're pushing this week, Q.
Yes.
How'd your team do last week, Q?
I have a team? What team? In FanDuel?
Yeah. You don't have a football team that you like?
No, somebody was supposed to run it for me. Oh, football team that I like?
Yeah, you don't root for any certain team?
No, not really.
You're not a Giant guy or a Jet guy?
I don't like New York teams that play in Jersey, Walt.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a New York team playing New York.
Mm-hmm. I hear that.
Yeah.
But you could put your skills to work and go win cash in FanDuel's 1 week fantasy football contest. If you don't have time, you're obviously very busy. Just 1 week. And you don't have to. And Sundays so free. You can.
Yeah, there's nothing goes on Saturdays, right? So
college football, but you can't. I don't think you can do fantasy football with college. So.
No.
So should Fitzpatrick sit or no? Who's that guy with the broken jaw last year? Get that back up.
Oh God.
Should he get a shot at the? Well, they just signed Fitzpatrick to some crazy amount of money. I don't think they're ready to sit him yet.
Mm-hmm. I'm open
Sunday $1 million tournament, Walt.
There's $1 million tournament
paying out at least $1 million in prizes.
Do I have to spout any Nazi propaganda to win that money, or is it just
no?
You
don't have to sell. You don't have to sell out on your morals.
Right. I don't have to raise money for ISIS. Nothing like that. I can just win.
Nazi clown.
Exactly. You have to stalk kids in a playground.
Wearing a FanDuel shirt.
And then at the end, I forgot to tell you this part though. At the end of the segment, when it's revealed that like who's getting eliminated, you have a in unison like a crowd going, "You're worse than Bernie Madoff,"
and then somebody tases the guy.
All right, back to
and then gives him an oversized check for $100,000.
That would probably make a good bit on Fameless casting for that show, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That would work.
We have a show, this Fameless with David Spade, which is actually kind of similar, where people think they're going on a reality show, but really it's sort of like Joe Schmo. If you remember that show, so it's that.
I forgot about that. I did forget that you guys had that show.
Yeah,
I would have pocketed that one for I wouldn't have wasted your time.
It's like Fameless with Hitler. Quite a lot.
Instead of David Spade, someone dressed up like Hitler.
Go to FanDuel.com, click the Join Now button, and use my promo code TESD. That's FanDuel.com, promo code TSD. Void where prohibited. You got something right here. You're right. Jump in. What do you got about me for FanDuel? I can see you got some info.
No, I don't have any info.
No patches this week.
No, when it said void where prohibited, I was thinking of like taking a shit where they don't want me to.
Did you deal with a lot of phone faces? A lot of problems?
Well, people seem to. I guess I understand too. They're like, how do I know if I was in the first 25 or not?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Like I think it's FanDuel's website, but this week there's no incentives. I gave away probably no more patches left, so do not join up to FanDuel and think you're getting a patch this week because you're not. Only do it because you want to support the show, not for a patch. Don't be so greedy.
Yeah, come on, man. Haven't you gotten enough? FanDuel.
We got Ring.
No, this would be good for you, Simi.
Yeah,
Ring. Yeah, because some fuck up shows up to your house on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And because you would have to use your phone then, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that how you use it?
Let's go to Sunday.
Okay, Sunday. It's any day but Saturday.
Okay, yeah.
Some weirdo shows up to your house and they're like, "Hey, man,
he's got thick glasses on. He's got a stained T-shirt, tight sweatpants, and an icon."
And I'm like, "Why didn't you like my idea about the suicide hotline?" Yeah, no, and they're like, "Hey, I heard you on Tell 'em Steve Dave, and you were yelling at Q," and they're all hot and under the collar about it. You could have this conversation.
He's got a map of Staten Island tattooed on his forehead.
Yeah, he's really pissed at you.
Yeah, he's pissed. All right, I get where he's coming from, but probably shouldn't show up at the house.
Use this, the ring of security, where it's like it's basically a camera that you put on outside your door, and somebody, and you don't even have to be home because there's an app, and somebody rings and they're like, "Hey, Simi," like. You know, like how these people are leaving their hotel room doors open. So, you don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. You can just fucking check it out, see the person, see if you want to talk to them. Maybe it's some dickhead that's always borrowing money or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to pretend I'm not home.
Just ringing at the doorbell.
Yeah, like,
so you're describing a security camera?
Simi,
yeah, it's a security camera and a doorbell.
Yeah.
And it's also, remember how Ferris Bueller had to make that tape that played?
Yeah, sure.
This, you can actually talk into your phone from anywhere in the world. And it comes out through the doorbell.
You could be like, I'm taking a bath.
You could be
right
in Cali.
Now. I can't come to the door.
Okay.
You could be at Cali. Maybe you're shooting the premiere episode of Funerals. Sure. Someone's knocking on the door at home, and you can talk to them.
Or you decided to produce this script I wrote called Down Syndrome, the movie.
Downs with a Z.
Yes. Yeah. See, we got to work together, bro. We're missing out on golden opportunities.
Good, right? Yeah. This is why I like him. Down Syndrome.
But anyway, yeah. So you're in California,
sure.
And somebody
knocks on my door.
You got a wife and kids.
Are you down with Downs?
Yeah.
This is good.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that movie's gonna fucking be
Down
a blockbuster.
So I'm in California. Somebody rings my doorbell.
Yeah, you got a wife and kids. You're just like, honey, don't go to the door. Let me check this out. The guy in sweatpants. And
I say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't come to the door because I'm in the bath.
Yeah, I'm in the bowl. Yeah. Take a bubble bath. So.
Or I'm cleaning my guns.
Yeah.
Oh, that's talking.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I'm sharpening my Bowie knife.
And then you can have on your phone, maybe you press a button and you can have like a dog barking like crazy in the background. You keep telling the dog, be quiet, it's okay.
Wait, is this a show idea? Is this an app? Like, what is this?
No, that's not included in the Ring security kit, just so you know, the dog barking thing. Yeah.
It should be.
That's a whole separate. Ring, you should get on that. Yeah. No, this is just this is something you buy. You get $150 off your kit if you go to ring.com/TESD, and you never have to answer your door again, really, unless you want to, because Ring's made it. Home burglary every 13 seconds. That's crazy, shocking. Man. That's crazy.
Do you think there's anyone, Simi, at the network who dislikes us to the point where they're waiting for Jokers to get canceled?
No.
No?
There's a lot of love for you guys, Q. There's a lot of love, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it, but you never know.
There might be some.
I mean, is there somebody at the network who hates you guys?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Subversives.
And they're waiting for what do you think it's going to be like?
I mean, I know that the comic book lover in you once would love a villain.
I would love a villain. There are no villains. I like everybody at the network.
I would say the paranoid in him.
That's true, too.
Well, nobody has 100% success rate.
He's looking for the black cloud somewhere.
How does that news? All right, so True, we shoot season 6, right? And True decides not to renew for season 7.
Okay.
How does that news get delivered to us?
Ooh,
are you in charge of that?
No, my guess is that's probably above my pay grade. That probably. God, that's a good question. Right. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm glad I don't want to be the one to make that call.
A text.
I'm like, hey,
right,
don't come back.
Do we get called to the office?
That's a good question. I would imagine it would happen in person, but my sense is at this point, it's all parties. I don't think there's going to be any surprise. It's not going to be like, oh, sorry, we're just killing this off.
I know what they do.
Right.
Simi fakes his death, and we can't go on with the show.
I like that. And depending on how you react,
right?
you may reveal it.
You're on funerals.
With a Z.
It replaced Jokers.
We heard recently that the upper, you might not, this might have been above your pay grade, but I heard recently that the upper echelon at the network, although I would say you're in the upper echelon, but like even above you was annoyed at us recently.
For what?
For negotiations on the live episode. Did you hear any of that?
I did not hear any of that.
Okay. No. So
I'm sure it was warranted though if they were. No, I have no idea.
Are they greedy, the Jokers?
I don't think they're greedy. I think I think it's, when you get to this point, when the show's been this successful, you're going to fight, you're going to try to fight for some money. I think that's warranted.
Sure. Well,
I can't speak to the details of it.
We didn't.
I'm not involved on the money side, really.
In this case, once it was explained to us what the financial reality was of the episode, we were like, oh, well, of fucking course. And it went away in 2 seconds.
Right. I will say, that the network does try to make you guys happy. They try to.
100%. But we had basically, all right, let's say we get X amount for an episode, right? Now, if you're doing an episode 4 times as long as a normal, you're doing a 2-hour episode, would you expect to get X times 4?
Is that a serious question for me in the show I'm on?
Yeah.
Or for you?
How hard
for us, I guess.
It's not a show that we'd probably rerun a lot, right? The live episode?
No. Yeah.
Is it like 1 or 2 time?
Or maybe that weekend, that sort of thing.
And I'm not even setting them up. Like, right. But that's just the initial question. So now you're doing 4 times his work. Would you expect to get paid your rate times 4?
Times 4?
I mean, you would think, right? It's not unreasonable.
Is everybody
to
else
think that.
getting paid times 4?
No, this is
like you mean the crew and all that?
Yeah.
Probably not, because they get paid. They get paid on a different rate.
Right.
But
is it your idea?
No.
Whose idea is this 2-hour show?
Just for the networks.
It was mine.
And then I would think that you maybe 2 times would be fair. I don't know about 4 times.
But well, I'm not saying that we should get paid 4 times, but you could see how the initial thing would be like, oh, that's great. We're delivering 2 hours instead of a half hour.
We want 4 times, and knowing they'll settle for 2 times.
We ended up settling. Well, once the realities of the budget was explained to us, there was no argument. There was no argument. We were just like, oh, okay. So that's where it came from.
Why not bring it up?
Why not bring it up? Right. But is there ever the sense of the network that we are diva-ish? Did you ever hear that?
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Not a long time.
But you have heard it.
It's been like weeks, I think.
Yeah. But it does sometimes you'll hear that.
I think full disclosure, I haven't heard it in a while. I feel like there were definitely over the course of 3 years where there are times where you guys wanted something that seemed above and beyond, like it probably happened, but I honestly nothing comes to mind.
Nothing recently.
And somebody at the network was like, "Who the fuck do these guys think they are?"
Yeah,
that has had to been said at the network, right? Who do these guys think they are?
Because there was 1 or 2 demands that were just a little lofty.
Yeah, I wonder what those would have been. I would fucking love to.
I don't think it would have been the map. The map seems
not the map.
Seems reasonable.
The map does seem. Well, my reaction to the map was maybe a little.
I like how you've come around on this a little bit.
Well, it wasn't about the map.
Yeah.
It was about.
It was pride.
He's on to the next battle, though.
There are no more battles. I've given up.
Oh, you're not thinking about the map anymore? You totally gave up?
So now, this is Q going back into the mode of I really don't give a shit about any of this.
Yeah, you'll get a call later on.
Well, with the Benjamin Cat thing, I was hoping we were going to turn that into something bigger, and then that went away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we did shorts for another show.
I remember that. This is one of the times where you were yelling and you were
we got
here.
into it on this one.
I was furious. I don't think I was on the phone. We were texting.
We texted a lot about this one.
We disagreed on an edit. I still disagree with you. I don't feel you. What happened was we got hired to do. Well, we didn't. I got hired to help shepherd. How would you say it? These shorts based for another show on True based on Benjamin Cat.
Right.
And I was super excited. I was doing it for free. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even getting paid. This sounds silly to say, but I got forced to get paid. My whole thing was like, I don't give a shit at all. Like, I'll just do it because I think it's fun.
Who forced you to get paid?
This was not North-South. Somebody said you have to get paid. They're like, you have to get paid.
Okay.
But I had said, I don't even give a shit. I said, money wasn't even, that didn't even come up till after we shot, actually, the episode. Cause I didn't care about money. And in fact, I took a pay cut in the end. And the edits came in and I thought they were so funny. And this is where I wonder if you'll admit this, if it's true. But the edits that came back, I strongly disagreed with. They just weren't, to me, weren't funny. Like they ripped out the humor. They made them less mean. They just made it not funny and bland to me. Mm-hmm. But you said it was your call, but it wasn't your call, was it?
About the edits for that piece?
Yeah, I think you were just taking a hit just to end the whole situation.
I think it was partially my call and partially other people weighing in also. Because that was for a show that wasn't really my show.
Right.
But
you took it on yourself like it was your call.
Yeah.
And when I calmed down, I was like, all right, I see why he did it because...
Well, that's one of the things that's tough about working at a network is you're not, sometimes you're taking other people's opinions into account and you're sort of trying to, ultimately I'm speaking for the network. So like even if there's something that, sometimes I have to sell things that it can get complicated, but
it just didn't feel like you. I just know you. You're a funny guy, so I couldn't see you agreeing with their cut. That's what was driving me nuts. I was like, "There's no way," and that's why he keeps saying when I said, "I know it's funny," because I knew the cut was funny. Like that was what I said. I was like, "I know it's funny. I know it's funny."
Yeah,
not like I know it's funny. Although there might have been that too.
Do you consider showing anyone else at the time? Show anyone else these cuts?
Here's
like
the thing: like the people who wrote it and directed it are the writers on Impractical Jokers who have years of UCB experience and are very funny, and they know what's funny. Like, they were funny. Like you were fighting for the other show, which shall remain nameless. I was fighting for the writers who had and the director who had no voice. So I was trying to puff up my feathers a little bit on their behalf. And I was like, I couldn't get how you thought that their edits were funny, because there were no jokes. Right. There wasn't a single joke left in that edit. I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that one didn't go over as well as I think we all hoped it would.
Yeah. But I just felt like you were just saying it politically. Were you saying it politically a little bit?
I think part of it was.
That makes me feel better, though. Okay. If he couldn't see the value in Benjamin Catt, then I don't feel so bad that he's not that into Are You Worse Than Hitler or Funerals.
Oh, it puts his whole.
Definitely
puts everything in perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up on the suicide hotline. This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I think we should focus on funerals.
I'm coming around on all these ideas. Right?
I think we should focus on funerals. So we should pitch Simi a show, I think.
All right.
Not
a legitimate one, not on air though.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we should develop funerals into something.
Yeah, come in, guys.
More so than 1 True 3.
Listen to me. 1 True 3 is a legitimate show.
Yeah.
That will sell. 1 True 3 is great.
Celebrity 1 True 3.
Yeah.
Got a vanilla ice in there.
We'll take this off air.
All right.
So that's it. We got to wrap it up.
Thank you for coming in.
Pleasure, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening to our ideas.
That was great. A lot of fun. A little disturbing, but expected nothing less.
I think for a first time thrown into it, I think you did really well.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
I think the second time will be better.
Apart from Anna, such yourself, where do you stand on Illuminati? Real or not real?
Oh, God. Is this how you close every
no.
podcast?
You're worse than Hitler!
Tell him, Steve Dave.
I've lost what seems to be me! And I'm losing my grip on reality! I was alone in the dark since I was lost from the start. On the walls at my door, chewing on my bleeding heart. Run away! You were my favorite mistake. Run away! You're so I've lost my sense of belief.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.